Well, this is episode 266, 400 away from the devil's number. Looking forward to that. That'll be a good time when we get to the old
That's when the
666. My name
best
is,
stuff happens.
that's when, hey, by then, maybe we'll have the Witcher 4. Might be out by then. 400
Sure.
episodes from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
My name is Sam. I'm here with Dan. It's another fireside chat episode, we think. I'm actually going to leave that call window open in case Kyle surprises us and joins. That way I can switch over to a view for all three of us.
Mm,
But I think it is just the two of us again this week. And it's kind of fitting because there's like nothing that released this week. And by nothing, I mean,
sure.
unless you were really following something you kickstarted or have a really niche interest in some kind of game, you were probably just playing some of the unbelievably massive games that have been coming out over the previous
Sure.
several weeks.
Well, I mean,
So,
something else did come out, Tim. Everyone's very rare hostility because the internet is a very calm place.
yeah.
Um, so what came out of what is usually a calm place is a lot of
Uh-huh.
anger and
Yep.
turmoil and such. But we'll discuss that. We'll get there.
That is true. Uh, this was a very upsetting week for me because I'm so used to the internet being peaceful and usually
Mm,
pretty aligned,
yeah.
across
Oh,
the
absolutely.
spectrum.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was just shocking to the system to hear people disagree so vehemently. Obviously, we're talking
There's nothing
about.
more agreeable than the people on the internet. Nothing more
I know
agreeable,
that's
Tim.
so true. Yeah, we'll get into some of that with the news. Honestly, it's a mostly Nintendo chat this week with their direct, with the Switch 2 news, with the way that real life has invaded our favorite hobby.
Mm,
So we'll get into
mm.
all of that, and then we'll close it out talking a little bit more about Assassin's Creed Shadows and why I freaking love that game. So we're going to talk more about that to close things out. But first, I do like to highlight, as we do every week, some of the new games that are out, even if you haven't heard of them. Maybe they're not on your radar. It's always fun to highlight something. I feel like every week, one or two people at least will let me know, like, "Hey, I wasn't going to play this game, but I saw the video of it. Now I'm going to give it a try."
That's how it
So
works.
that
Works.
is good. So that's what I want to keep doing. Even if I'm not playing them, I think it's cool to highlight some of these. So the first one is this little game that's out called Koira. It's Koira. It is actually published by Don't Nod. So it's kind of like it wasn't
Oh, okay.
developed by them, but the fact that it's published by them has a nice stamp of approval, I think, because I love
Yeah,
the
that's
stories
pretty
that they
cool.
tell. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so Koira this is out now. I'm just scrolling down here a little bit on the video so you can see they call it a wholesome adventure game. It's a heartwarming hand-drawn adventure featuring a lost spirit and her new puppy friend, and together they must journey to safety in the heart of the enchanted forest, solving puzzles, finding
Ooh,
friends, and
puppy
avoiding
friend though,
dangers.
Tim.
Puppy
Puppy
friend.
friend. Oh, I'm worried. I'm already worried.
Why are you worried? It's not a furry
You put in a
friend. It's a
door.
puppy friend. Yeah, it's not a furry friend.
That's even worse. Imagine losing the
Uh,
puppy friend. That's what I'm concerned about.
oh,
I don't.
yeah, one or both of you are gonna die, but
Sure. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, but anyway, I like the
Absolutely.
animation style of this. It looks pretty. I like it.
It
So
does. I like it a lot. Yeah. It
yeah, it's
reminds
got
me
a
of
cool style to
well,
it.
I mean quite a lot of things, but
Yeah, yeah.
was it like Inside and
Yes,
the Limbo? Limbo,
Limbo.
like a little bit
Absolutely.
of that,
Yep. But it's got some color to it. So yeah, I kind of like the way that looks. I do know that the user reviews, like on Steam, for example, and the critical reviews are all quite good. So it's getting good reception as well. So there you go.
Nice.
Koira is out now. Also out now, if you want to have your heart broken all over again, you can play The Last of
I
Us
do.
Part 2 Remastered.
That's
It is now out
heartache.
on
More
PC.
heartache.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, I
Now,
want.
now
So
out
how
on
is
PC.
this? How is this running? Do we know yet if it's running good or not?
Good question. I
Yeah.
actually haven't heard. The
Mm,
fact that we haven't heard tells me maybe it's actually running okay. Don't you think?
okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, people are pretty quick to point out, when something is a
Yeah.
problem or broken or whatever. So
Yeah. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna pull up Steam and see. Oh, it's updating Steam. That's a bad idea. I shouldn't have tried to open Steam.
also, I could. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I swear, what was one of the first things that it said, like from the critical HBO last, like they actually were referencing HBO's Last
I
of
know.
Us, I think, in the beginning,
I think
which is funny
they
because
know
it's
that a
like,
lot of people they're gonna come to it from the show. A lot of people.
sure, it's just
Yeah.
funny a video game that then they made a show that's now referring to the video game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's got 88% positive reviews by users on Steam. So this must
Oh,
be doing, and they are, I mean, that usually will crush a Steam average, right? If the quality
sure.
is bad.
Yeah,
So there you go. Last of Us Part 2
that's
Remastered
actually
out on
shocking.
PC now. Yeah. Good for them.
Shocking.
I wish that would be more in the news stories. Like, hey guys, this game launched and it's running really well. That's the headline. That's
Yeah.
the story. That's it.
Well, not. I mean, not even just that, Tim, but like also like review bombing because this game, is divisive with some people.
Oh, it
So
is. You're right.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So
Well, if we thought people were mad about the game, just wait until they see what happens on the show. Even if the show deviates a little bit, you know it's going to be faithful enough that people are going to
right.
be. Just so you guys know, just know this. If for some reason you haven't played this game, don't know the story, and you're watching the show and you're liking it, the show launches this coming week, by the way. Very excited about it.
Mm,
Um, but your heart's going to get ripped out. It's going to get chewed up,
hmm.
put through the
Yep.
grinder, shoved back into your body. Then you're going to get pushed off a cliff. Like that's what it's going to feel
Right.
like trying to make it through this story a little bit.
And they're gonna set you on fire while you're falling off the cliff.
You're going to be on fire, yes, and then you're just going to land, but you're not going to die when you land. It's going to be a slow death. That's how this game is. That's
Hmm.
how the story is.
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit. A little
just
bit.
be
Yeah.
ready. Just be ready for it. And by the way, I'm saying that all not because it's bad. I love this game. It is so good. It just is heartbreaking all the way through the credits rolling. It's just like it's a gut punch, but it's a good gut punch. You know, when you watch a really good sad movie that brings out the ugly cry, it's that kind of
It
movie.
lets you know that you're like still human and not broken and dead
Yeah,
on the inside.
that is very true. Actually, yeah,
It
that is very
breaks
true.
you, but you know that you're not broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because then you
I
feel things. So.
totally agree. So yeah, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered out now on PC. All right. There's this cute little game that's out now called High Seas,
Ooh.
High Profits.
Oh,
It's a nice little kind of trading simulation game. Let me see how they describe it here. They describe it. Oh, they don't have a description for it. Let's look it up on Steam real
but I
quick.
mean, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's like basically like you're
Build.
like running an economy, right, with running trade routes and stuff like
Tim, what are
that.
you trying to do to me? You throw a game that says build on the screen. You expect me not to be
I
interested in
know,
this?
buddy. I'm really sorry. You know what? That's my bad. That's my bad. Uh, it is a trading economy building capitalism game. You know, you have to deal with pirates, buy ships, build businesses, train up your captains, all that kind of. I mean, it's a management game set with ship
Yeah, I
trading.
like that.
So kind of cool.
Was there
Um,
trades like was there like on set? Do you remember Sid Meier's Pirates?
oh, dude, I never got into it, but I've always wanted to. But you
Okay,
could do like duels in that game
okay.
too, right?
I don't remember. I had one, or I think it was the third one, Sid Meier's Pirates 3, maybe.
Oh, they
Um,
made multiple. I thought they just made the one.
I swear there was more than one. I mean, unless I'm thinking of something else, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a few of them. And I remember just thinking it
Okay.
was really fun, really, really fun.
So there you go. The demo's on Steam. Actually, the game is out too. This was an older trailer, so I could find on YouTube here. But the game is now out. I believe it's the full game. Yeah, full game is now out, and yeah, it's medieval trading game, and you can try a demo on Steam if you want to. So there you go.
Ooh,
Yeah, Sid Meier's Pirates. I remember the dueling and the management of pirate stuff all looked interesting to me. I just never tried because I didn't have an Xbox, and so by the time I was able to play Pirates, it was a pretty old
hmm.
game, and I just didn't bother diving back into it.
So I don't think there's three of them, but I think there was like an older one, and then there's one that came out in like
Mm.
2004. So I think there's just like
The 2004 one
maybe
is
a
the one that I
couple.
missed that I was interested in, but I didn't play.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yep. Oh, there is a game called Uncharted Waters that's now on the Switch online from Super Nintendo days, and I did play a lot of hours of that
Oh
with my
yeah,
buddy, and I love that game. But I don't know if I'll try it again because sometimes it's good to leave nostalgic things where they belong and let yourself
right.
remember it fondly. You don't
It
necessarily
might
always
not
want
be
to.
as good now as you remember, for sure. Possibly.
Almost certainly, it's not.
Yeah.
Dan, you know this game, Haste. It is out now. You tried the
Oh
demo
yeah.
for this one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like this runner, speed runner type of a game.
Yeah, I like the
Oh,
look of it a lot, and like
yeah.
even just the demo because the game wasn't out yet. I was like, this because was playing it on my PC, and I just I'm sorry everybody, I don't really game very much on my PC. I just don't. I prefer
Sure.
sitting on the couch with my controller
Hmm.
on my console. But man, this game is smooth. Like it is really cool. It's just I didn't play enough of it to really get like good at it, but it's pretty
Yeah,
cool. It's fun.
it looks fun. Some of these obstacles that she's jumping through, and it looks like
Yeah,
the kind of thing too. Like you would want run a course a couple times to like really get the shortcuts, the fastest routes, dodge
like
the
Neon White.
things.
You know,
Neon
kind of like
white,
how
man,
we
I
were all
love
sort of
neon white.
competing a little
Hmm.
bit. Yeah,
Yep, yep. I mean, look at that. Looks awesome. It looks pretty
yeah, because it's like
dynamic
trying
and
to
like
catch up with you. There's like,
adrenaline rush a bit of a game,
yeah, yeah,
right? Yeah. So I was looking for the end of this trailer to see, is it out on, definitely on Steam. If it's coming to consoles, I don't think it's out on consoles yet. So there you go. Haste is out. Also out. Figured I'd highlight this. Yes, it's free to play, but I know that you and Kyle especially do like your mech games. So we've got this game
mm.
called Steel Hunters. Have you heard of Steel Hunters?
Steel Hunters. No, I think there's isn't there like a Steel Breaker coming out or something?
There's all kinds of steel
Or there's a
happening,
Steel
man.
Breaker. There's so much
All
steel,
kinds.
Tim. A lot of steel.
So much steel happening. Steel Hunters is a free to play game.
Okay,
um, PvPvE shooter, futuristic mech
dude,
battles,
that holy shit.
level up, upgrade, all that kind of stuff. The visuals
The
on this
detail
trailers
of
look
the
really
mechs.
cool. Yeah, the detail
Yeah,
does look good. Don't know if it plays
it's
super
actually pretty
well. I
sharp.
don't know if it's like really predatory as a free to play game. I can't vouch for it. I just think the trailer looked really cool, so I thought I'd share it.
Yeah, that does look actually kind of red.
Yeah, yeah, I think it looks neat. There's little clips of the gameplay. There you go, like just little shots of the gameplay. You can see the aiming reticle, but a lot of this is just the cutscenes. It looks like. Yeah, let's see if I can skip
Yeah, some
ahead
of
a
the
little
mechs
bit.
are like
There you
kind
go.
of a little bit reminding me of the Transformers movies, which I know are
Yes,
very like, people have opinions on those,
they do indeed. See, that's
but
cool
it
right
has
there. That's
a
a
yeah,
cool
it has a
shot.
little bit of that. Yeah.
So there you go. Steel Hunters. I think it's early access is what it's released now, but you can looks like fully destructible
Okay.
environments. Looks interesting. So there you go. All right, there's this game out called Elroy and the Aliens. It's a point and click adventure. It reminded me a little bit, like there were a couple scenes that made me think of like Maniac Mansion or something, where you have to
Sure.
solve a mystery, and it's very tongue in cheek humor. You can even tell by the animation probably that it's meant to be funny. It's got this kind of
Yeah.
throwback 80s 90s
Some
adventure
quirky
vibe to
humor.
it. Quirky humor. Yeah. So it's this kind of thing where there's a story to it, and then you gotta explore. Like there you go. You can see with Elroy, you're kind of walking around this little environment, point and click, and trying to solve stuff. Pick up an
The
item,
art's
use it in the
nice.
new space. But yeah, yeah, not bad. Elroy and the Aliens is out now too. So if you liked Space Quest and those types of games back in the day, Maniac Mansion, that kind of stuff, you can give
Yeah.
this one a look. If you're itching for an Earthbound like, there's this game that was on
Oh,
Kickstarter a few years back called Odd Venture. Now this is the old Kickstarter trailer. I'm sure the game has a different look and feel or slightly upgraded, but from what I could tell in the listing in Steam, it looks a lot like this still. But it's got very much Earthbound
yeah.
vibes to it. It's an RPG adventure game. Everything from even the way the text looks reminds me of
Yeah.
Earthbound, and even the fight
Ver-
screen here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you see the character, but it's still that
Yeah,
like forward facing style, so
right, right. Yeah, and they had a couple shots of a
oh,
party. There you
dude,
go.
what
You can
is
see
that?
the party attacking.
Yeah.
Little
See,
turns from the top. You can
I
see them
like
coming there.
this a lot. I think this is a good compromise for that style of RPG because at least I still get to see my characters, my party.
It's not totally first person.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
So
this looks
yeah,
cool.
yeah, not bad. So that's Odd Venture. If you're in a strategy mood, you can try this game called Roman Triumph Survival City Builder. So it's got the survival element to it. I just scroll down a little bit here so I could see the description. But
Builder, eh?
the idea is set in Roman times. Obviously, you got to lead your people, build your city from the ground up, fortify it with walls, archers, all that kind of stuff to survive against these hordes of barbarians, Hydra, Minotaur, and other beasts that will attack. So it's got this build up to like a tower defense, survival, city builder kind of hybrid going on here. So
So it is mythical because you just said there's
definitely
creatures or whatever that
mythical.
show.
Yeah, because it looks
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
weather effects can attack you. When it
Yeah.
comes to
Oh, the
dragons.
I also there were dragons. A big. I forgot about the dragons. So of course it's
There's
not real.
definitely there be dragons. Yeah.
They'd be dragons.
So so you go. That's called Roman Triumph. I believe just on Steam. Yep, and it is out now in early access.
Okay.
Last one I'll show you. I know you guys like your spooky games. This one's called The Cecil. The Journey Begins. It's about this hotel called the Cecil Hotel.
Hmm.
It's a psychological survival horror game.
Oh,
It says you got to try to find your loved one, uncover the truth. Um, Basically, it's this romantic getaway gone wrong. It has a bit of a
sure.
Resident Evil vibe to it. The fact that you guys traveled somewhere and then things go poorly. Like it reminds me of Seven a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah.
no
Oh,
idea if it's any good, but it's got some spookiness to it.
yeah. Yeah, because it's in first person, so it's trying to kind of be like Resident Evil 7, but like it is in a mansion. It looks like
Yeah,
this is a mansion. So
yeah. So there you go. The
okay.
Cecil, the journey begins. If you want some spooks here for this spring season. All right, I think that is it for new games as far as I know. Are you playing anything new that I'm not aware of? Is there anything else that I missed? I mean, yeah, those are probably a bunch of ones you didn't even know
Um,
released.
yeah, I didn't know any of those released him. Literally any
There
of
you go.
them.
That's because no one's talking about them. There's other news that's kind of dominating our attention these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
So the only reason we maybe would have heard of The Last of Us Part 2 is if it had come out as a technical mess. We would have seen people whining about it and heard about it. But since we didn't hear anything, we didn't even know it released because apparently it's running great. That's an assumption that I'm making, that it's running great.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, other than that though, it's funny. I was looking for headlines for this week. Okay, what's been happening in the news? It's been a really busy week for me for work. I've been pretty swamped and haven't had a chance to keep up with stuff. So I was trying to catch up yesterday and today on some news. And I'm not saying there hasn't been any in the last 24 hours, but most of this week was just dominated by Nintendo. Just completely
Sure
dominated
was.
by Nintendo news, which makes sense, right? They were unveiling their next console. It's been 8 years since the Switch has been out, so they were going to unveil it with this direct. But before we dive into the direct and kind of go through our thoughts on it together, I'm curious, are there any other headlines that aren't Nintendo related that you think we should cover? Am I forgetting anything that happened this, or did I miss
I
anything that happened this
Yeah,
week?
it's pretty much just been Nintendo in my head this whole week. So if anything else did happen that was like, oh man, that's crazy. I am not I am not aware.
Yeah, even as I'm just kind of scrolling through news headlines, it's all Switch, Switch, Switch. We got some South of Midnight reviews, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to playing that
Oh
next
yeah,
week.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know some people have it in early access and seem to be really enjoying it. As a nice, solid kind of 8 out of 10 type of a game, which is great. Love to hear
Yeah,
that. I'm excited to play it. Uh, but yeah, the only other news that I'm seeing as I scroll through here is that GTA 5 Enhanced is coming to Xbox Game Pass. So you'll have access to that if you
sure.
have Game Pass. And if for some reason you're one of the only people who hasn't purchased it yet, then
Yeah, I mean that game sold like 8 billion, right? So I mean, like that's like
something
everybody
like
on the
that.
planet, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
it's like
human
everyone.
being has a copy, but they might
Yeah,
not have it on
every
Xbox yet.
baby.
So now you can play it on your Xbox. So
Sure,
there you go.
sure. That's
But
fair.
yeah, everything else appears to be Nintendo related. So we'll go. What we'll do is we'll bring up the direct and we'll kind of skim through it together a little bit. We'll pause and highlight stuff that we liked that jumped out to us. But before we do that, we're gonna start on the positive, Dan, because there are definitely some valleys and some mountaintops to go through here together. Right? Is that fair
Yeah,
to say?
there. Yeah. It's definitely, yeah.
But is there a particular before we jump in? I'm just and it's okay. Spoil away. Is there something about this that you found yourself being like, all right, I'm pretty pumped about that when it comes to the system, a game, or anything? Is there an element of that you're excited about?
Um so I think you can almost guess, and it's funny because it's not even a new game, Tim.
Right.
They're finally, and I've been hoping for this because I think the first one is exceptionally beautiful. Like Bravely Default 2 is not
Yeah,
an ugly game, but there's a little bit of like almost like this weird like sheen to the character models that I just think don't look as good as the first one.
that's fair.
um the first one, so Bravely Default, in case anybody just didn't miss what I just said, they're remastering the first one that came out on the 3DS. And that game is beautiful. It's a gorgeous game. It actually was awesome on the 3DS because the backgrounds, because they're all like drawn and painteresque. It looked like a oh man, what the hell are those little things that are like in cubes? People like actually sell them on
A little
Etsy, but they're like in
diorama.
cubes. Yeah, like a diorama. So
Hmm.
it looked like a diorama because the 3D
It did.
actually worked really well with that game.
Yep.
Um, and it's actually what like kickstarted the idea of starting the HD 2D games. Apparently, even though it's not
Oh,
an HD 2D
interesting.
game, it's actually what inspired the devs within. Like once they kind of like moved away from Bravely Default and they were they started working
Did
on
they do
Octopath.
Octopath? Same
Apparently,
company did
yeah,
Octopath, right?
yeah, it's the same
Okay.
team under Square. Yeah, so that team is
Okay.
the team that did Bravely Default. But I think that's awesome too. Like
Yeah.
that it inspired that whole HD 2D thing. But yeah, that's actually like slightly more than the last thing they announced because the last thing they announced looks freaking rad as hell.
Yes, it
So
does.
cool.
Yeah. So
But
fun.
like Bravely Default, I never finished it, but I remember like really loving the game. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, there's a bunch that I was excited about. Um, there's details around the system and the launch and the pricing, and of course, those things that we'll talk about. We'll get into that.
Sure.
That I'm not
Yeah.
thrilled about. But the thing, there's a lot, but I'll just highlight one before we dive in, and then you'll hear what we're excited about. It's got to be Mario Kart World. I'm just really pumped for a new Mario Kart game, new courses. Some of the idea of being able to free roam a bit, race between
Yeah.
courses to get to the start line, like those are just really creative, fun ways to let you do more than you could do before. Like it gives you incentive to like, oh, okay, I want to try this version of the game. I feel like every Mario Kart has tried to have something it's introducing that's new or draws you back in. Sometimes just having Mario Kart by itself is all you need. No, new courses, cool. I
Yeah.
mean, but it is fun when they try something new. Like with the Double Dash was a really cool take on
Right.
the Mario Kart formula. So anyway, this looks like
Yeah.
another amazing entry so far.
It's interesting. So because you're bringing up Double Dash, so that was GameCube. And
Hmm.
then you had Mario Kart Wii, which you're introducing motion, right? Which I mean, who really wants to play a Mario
Right.
Kart game with motion? So, but
Yeah.
it's that's
Waggle
what that
waggle to
console.
spin and jump or whatever. Like okay.
Yeah, it's Waggle to
Mm.
Tokyo Drift. Um, and then the one on the Wii U, Mario Kart 8, and then obviously then got
Yeah.
ported to Switch. Like there wasn't. It seemed like there was like that jump to Double Dash was really interesting because they had never done that before. So there's your innovation there. But then like with the Wii and the Wii U slash Switch one, like what did they really actually do to make it distinct? Like I don't know what they did. It just kind of felt like, oh, it's a kart racer. Like okay,
Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure what I mean because I still had the motion controls, right? You could still, if you wanted to use the
yeah,
wheel and steer, if that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, I
yeah,
think they haven't innovated a ton since the Wii one. I think that's fair to say because there's really only been two, right? There was the Mario Kart Wii and then Mario Kart 8 and then deluxe version of 8.
right. Yeah. So
So
like it's been since the GameCube because yeah, they did have a character on the back like doing things. So like
yeah,
this one's definitely the most different, which is
it
cool.
is. I agree, and of course it looks gorgeous. I would argue though that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still is an impressive visual game.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
so many years later, I forget what year it came out on the Wii U, but on the Switch right now, the deluxe version just looks so fantastic. So that's the one I'm
Actually
probably most
curious.
excited about. But all right, but let's bring it up. We'll go through, we'll kind of scrub through. It'll be on silent, so we'll just be talking about what we're seeing here with the direct.
Oh my god, it
But
came
let's
out
skip it.
11 years ago,
So
Tim.
flipping.
Mario Kart
Did it really?
8. Mario Kart 8 came out or about to be 11 years because it was May 29th of 2014.
Really?
Yeah, so nearly 11 years ago.
Wow.
Man, they freaking they re-releasing that on Switch, they milked that game.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
they added more
Well, there's a couple
tracks, but
things that they have changed. Obviously, the in between, like we talked about, where you can kind of race in this open free roam form, maybe even mini races, from one course to the next. But there's also 24 racers on the track at one
yeah.
time. That's a lot. Do you think that's too? Is that too many?
No, it's not enough, Tim. No,
Not
let the
enough.
chaos ensue. Let the chaos ensue.
Yeah.
No, I mean it makes sense with like how the scope of this game is the biggest it's ever been. So if
Hmm.
you're gonna make the tracks a little bigger, make things kind of like more dynamic and just like more happening, just throw more races in there. If the technology allows you to do that, and you can have a nice 60
Yeah.
frames per second kart game.
That looked
Go for
new.
it.
A little wall jumping with your racing, right?
Yes. Oh, there's grinding and wall jumping. Yeah.
The grinding and wall jumping are new, definitely new features. Look at that. That's so cool.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So those are
And
some of the
also
things,
cow,
and
Tim. The cow.
cow, of course. Yeah, those are some of the things. They did have some Nintendo tree houses, and I was not able. Again, very busy week, so I wasn't able to watch them all yet. I plan to watch, at least skim through some of them, to see some of the things highlighted. But I'm sure they featured some of these new things, new racers, new gameplay elements. But a lot of it just looks like really fine tuned, really beautiful Mario Kart that we all love. That's what it looks like, when it comes down to it.
Even
So
even just as you were talking there in the 30-second window, they showed quite a few things. I mean, you could there's like outfits you can throw. It looks like you could
yeah,
probably dress them up. There
yeah.
was that part where Peach was like taking the corner there, and she did like this like double spin thing with her bike.
Oh,
That's new.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know what that is, but she's doing like a double spin with there's Birdo going inside of a truck. So like
A
suddenly
truck
you're
that is now
controlling that
your. I
truck.
guess
Like
you. I guess it's like a superpower. There's a double spin.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So like there's a lot. There's clearly just they didn't just say okay, 24 and like these worlds are interconnected, which by the way, that's insane. Um
Yeah.
it's just a lot
Agreed.
going on. Yeah. It's cool.
There is a lot going on. So Mario Kart World, which did they announce if it's launching with the Switch? Did they confirm that it's a launch
Yeah.
game? I assume it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's coming out with the Switch, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, cuz there's the
So then
bundle. There's just the Switch 2 and then there's
that's
the
right.
bundle
Of
that comes with
course.
it.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Which is a great way to save money because the cost of Switch games, as we know, is going up. So, but if you want to save some money, at least on Mario Kart World, and you're getting a Switch too,
It's boo, looking all
that's
dapper.
it's a great way to save money on it. Is you can get a bundle that where the game only costs 50, so it'll save you some cash.
And what's the mode? Kyle had said the mode, and I'm forgetting. They say it in the trailer, but this mode here, where because again, it's called Mario Kart World, so there's like a whole world laid out, and you can like do like almost like this kind of road trip, like 10 levels or something. And because they're all
Is that the free
interconnected, you
roam
start at
mode? Oh no, no, they do talk about that.
no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They're
and
knockout
it's
tour.
knockout tour, yes. So
Yeah,
like you start with the first one, and you go through, and
yes. And if you're behind
however
a certain ranking, then you'll drop off and
threshold,
you're
yeah,
done.
yep,
Mhm.
and that's really
That's a
cool.
cool.
But yeah, I
That's
love
really.
that they're
I like
connected.
that. Yeah, I think that's neat. So
Yeah, that's a
again,
cool
this
little
looks
mode.
amazing. The visuals look better than ever. Nintendo just always gets the best out of their hardware. So the fact that they now have,
They
you
do.
know, more power to work with, it's gonna be great. We know it's gonna be
Free
fun.
roam.
We know that Mario Kart World is going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can soften the blow of some of the cost and other issues, pre-order accessibility, things like that. Hopefully, so we'll get to all that. Look at Yoshi. I mean, that looks so good, man. That looks really good. Okay,
I know. It does.
Mario Kart World, same day as Nintendo Switch 2. There you go. They're gonna have a separate direct on April 17th. More about Mario
Yep.
Kart World, which is very cool. All right, they talked about the control. I'm just, if you can't tell, I'm just kind of skipping ahead with the arrows here. They talked about the controllers a bit. They showed what the C button is for with chatting, and how you can get a camera. I assume you can use any USB camera, but they will sell their own camera as well.
I don't know. It's Nintendo. They
Um,
might force you to get theirs.
they might, but it is USB. Well, who knows? Yeah, they might
Sure.
have a special thing where you
Yeah.
have to. But this whole game chat thing is so funny. Everyone kept saying, like, "Cool, now I get to pay for Discord." It's like, all right, well, good point. Like, I hear what you're saying.
This was the first
But
bad thing, Tim.
yeah, this wasn't great. But I will say the fact that you can have the four screens and you can screen share with each other on the Switch. Now, people would be like, I
Yeah.
can use any device I want and get on Discord or anywhere else, and we can already do that.
Sure.
Totally fair. But you can only do that on Nintendo with doing some jerry rigging of some sort, right? You have to run it through something into something through a PC. Like you couldn't easily screen share with some friends without using some sort of external thing for them. So unless I'm
Yeah.
there's something I don't know about. So there
Well, I
again, I
mean,
don't know who's
unless
going
you're
to
just
use this. I don't
talking,
know
you know.
who's going to be
Yeah.
screen sharing with each other. I don't know. But I'm just saying the fact that you can is kind of unique for Nintendo at least. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, it's like you see some people talking about how they're doing, they're playing catch up, Nintendo playing catch up, and it's like Nintendo just is playing its own game. Like, yeah, this seems like a thing that they should have had on the Switch, but like they didn't because they just didn't care. They don't think the way Xbox and Sony do, and I
right,
think people just still for some reason don't get that. It's like they're
yeah.
they're 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 on their own island doing their own thing, like
Well, the quality and latency is really poor. If you look at the bottom,
Mm,
um,
yeah.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So
Really?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure that it's something that I would ever want to do. Like if I'm racing people in Mario Kart, I don't need to see your screen. I don't need everything to slow down. Now the idea that
Yeah.
you could all be playing different games again, it reminds me of like when I walk in, my son is playing and he's on Discord chatting with his friends and they're playing different games. They can screen share with each other. Like this is already happening, right?
Right.
On other
Right. Right.
platforms, but again, not on Nintendo, not on Switch. So they're kind of making it so you can do so with family and friends who only have Nintendo, which I guess it hits maybe a certain audience, but it does remind me a little bit. I know that the camera is not a big selling point. I'm not trying to make it
Mm,
sound like Nintendo is pushing it more than they are. I think they just are offering it as an accessory. But it reminds me a little bit of the Kinect, where they were trying to make it sound like this huge,
sure.
amazing thing when essentially it's just a webcam. That's all it is. And
Right.
like
Yeah. But
some
again,
games might
a
have
big
some
thing
motion controls with it, but
for Nintendo, right? Again,
yeah,
they
yeah,
on their own island.
right,
I think the
exactly.
thing that's more egregious is that the button. Game chat. This is a button that you hit that's built into the console. You buy the machine. You've already paid for it, and yeah, they're letting you use it for what until 2026. I forget what month, but then you have to
Um,
technically pay for it.
yes, you'll have it for about 9 months for free, ish, 9-ish months for
Okay.
free, if you get the
And-
system at launch. Yeah.
right.
But
So
then
then
it's
that
part of
button's
your
obsolete.
Nintendo Switch
Technically.
Online. Then it's part of your online account thing too. So I'm glad you brought
Right.
that up because I've always been subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online. I use the
Right. Right. Right.
old school game library that's on there. My kids play online, so I use the family version where we can share games and stuff like that. So we'll use their game sharing feature. So like to me, it's a given, just like it's a given that I have some version of Game Pass, so we can do Xbox Live or Xbox Online. We have some version of Sony, um,
Right.
the PlayStation Plus, some version of that. So it's a given that if I'm going to have Nintendo, I'm going to have some version of their online thing. So I think all you have to do is have a Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think you have to have the Plus or whatever it's called, the
No,
expansion. I
it's
think you just
just the
have to have the
base one.
basic one. Yeah, which again makes sense because I'm not saying they should do it, but all companies do this. You have to pay to use their online services for the most part.
Right.
There's a lot you can't do on Sony or on Xbox without having
Well,
their
I think
subscription.
the beef here is like the game chat is not an online service. It's like it's just a feature that's built right. It's literally built into the machine because it's a
Yeah,
button that you hit, and you're like, oh, I'm using
right.
this thing. That's again basic technology
But now you want me to pay
with
to be
other
able to use it.
devices. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So the C button, is it ultimately useless without a Nintendo Online account?
yes,
Probably.
yeah, basically, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if this helps for
That's
streamers
the
at
thing
all, because if you're a streamer, you're already going to have a really good setup with the camera and a microphone, and you're going to already run this thing through
for sure, for
Stream
sure.
Stream Deck or whatever else. So like you're not going to need to worry about that. But um, yeah, there you go. Switch to camera available on the same day. So there you go. There's your Nintendo Connect. Also available.
Yeah, yes, the Nintendo. It'd be funny if they called it that. That would have been actually
Nintendo
hilarious.
Connect. Yeah, that would be funny. Yeah, there you go. Open access period through next year, and then there's going to be parental
Yep.
controls. That was a question I had actually. Was cool. So strangers can get on video with my kids. That's disturbing, but you can turn it on and off
Right.
whether or not they can use it,
Oh,
which is super
shoot.
important.
Tim, I
But
totally forgot. Silly me. Silly me.
oh, what did you forget? Ah, it's a you, Mario.
Wahoo! It's a me, disappointed customer.
Even
We'll
Mario's
get there.
critical.
We'll get there.
All right,
It's
so
a
then they
me. I
talked
am
about
broke.
being able to use local game sharing. I'm not sure if it goes. Maybe it's not just local. But in the past you could. There you go. Now
Yeah,
you can
local play
share
with
game
others.
share like full copies of the game. Essentially, this is outside of the virtual card
Right.
swapping. This is where you want to play multiplayer with certain titles. They can download and play the game with you, like this Clubhouse games or like Mario Party. I think is another one. There might be others,
Hmm.
but the idea is that one copy of the game. Oh, look at that Mario 3D World 2. There you go. There's a few of the examples that will have it. So this game share
Yeah.
idea, again, that's great. I think it's cool. It was nice that Split Fiction did that, for example. That way you don't have to buy two
Right.
copies of it. This is one small way to make the new cost of games a little better if you're planning on playing multiplayer, but it doesn't take the sting out completely. But um,
Right.
Yeah, it is. It is a nice addition. All right, let's keep moving here. Then they go over
Bigger screen.
they
Did you
go
see
over
that
some
caption,
very
Tim?
base. I know. They go over some very basic kind of console hardware updates, but they don't give you much of the
Yep.
tech stuff. I think we'll get more of that. I think Digital Foundry and others will do a good job of
I think it's out
giving you
there
some
already,
details. But is
but
it?
I don't
Yeah.
know if it. I don't know how accurate it is, so I can't speak to it. But
Yeah, so they talk about the resolution, how the screen is bigger, that better frames per second. Which, to be honest with you, that's all I need. Just tell me that it's going to look better and run better, and that's good. Okay, how much better? Oh, like 2 to 3 to 4 times better. Okay, cool. No OLED
mm,
screen, which I thought at the price of 450. If you had told me it's going to be 450, I'd be like, oh, so they are doing OLED. Like I would have assumed that's an
mm,
OLED screen price, just because 450 is pretty expensive. Um,
sure.
what do you think about the magnetic attachment as opposed to the slide and snap?
I mean, I think it's cool, and it's definitely seems like more convenient. So you're not dealing with that potential like when you're trying to slide it off, and maybe it just kind of like almost like you jerk too much, and then you whack yourself in the face. Um, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah. The only thing is, it's like how sturdy is that going to be? Is it going to be flimsy? Like, is eventually like is it going to get? You know what I mean? Like how?
Yeah. Yeah, will the magnets lose any kind of strength over time when you have to mail in your controllers to like update the
Right.
magnet
Put in
system?
some new magnets.
Okay, I wanted to talk about this, the mouse controls.
Sure.
This one I'm interested like okay, so how much will that damage the inside of that controller if you're sliding it around on a surface? Like is there you can't really use a mouse pad for that. I don't know, I'm curious how
Sure.
that works like cuz I like the idea of being able to quickly play a strategy game, for example, using mouse controls on a console like that. I think that's very, very cool. I just wonder
Yeah.
how that's going to feel and work sideways controller like that.
I'm wondering what the material is of the colored parts that slot that go like is it just straight on plastic? Is there like a almost
Right.
like a like kind of like a plasticky type like kind of cover sort of thing that
Yeah.
on surfaces it moves around a little like more
Right.
slick.
Is there
Um
some like slightly raised areas at the top and bottom that you don't really notice because
yeah.
that's going to
Yeah,
protect the
yeah.
buttons as you're sliding it around? Those are the
Yeah.
kind of things
Maybe
I'm
they
wondering
also
about.
assume
But
people are going to be sitting on their like on some kind of surface that, you have a soft surface. It's not like, "Oh, I'm going to the coffee table."
right.
Like something that's soft so you maybe not too concerned about scratching anything or
Yeah.
damaging, but
Maybe. Yep. Multiple USB-C ports. Cool. Of course for charging. I'm not sure what that one's for. Is that for external storage? Oh, that's for your
the
camera.
cam for the cam.
For the old camera. All right, so there's that. All right, let's keep moving here.
Was the
Okay,
dock?
more
Did we get to the
storage.
dock yet?
Like 8 times more
Yes,
storage. That's
for
significant.
sure.
Yeah.
I still feel like that's not enough, but you can buy
256
more,
feels
so
small
that's
these
okay.
days, but
Yeah,
32 felt hilarious for these days too. You know
sure,
what I mean?
sure, for sure.
4K support confirmed for the dock. That's something that I think is
There we
easy
go.
to overshadow once you started to hear pricing and things like that. But the dock when you're playing on the dock, you're going to have better fidelity and frame rates, of course,
Yeah,
which is nice.
because it's got the stuff. So this is what people were like, what was it? Discussing, theorizing with the first Switch. They're like, oh, is it like when you dock, it's gonna have stuff in the deck in the dock itself to
Right.
like upright. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
they actually did it.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm curious, what are some examples of non-compatible Switch One games? Because backwards
Mm,
compatibility, that's awesome. But is it licensing issues or is it just going to be functionality where some games were specifically made for the first Switch and there's something about it that it won't work on the second? I can't think of any offhand outside of like the Labo or something where maybe
have
something
they
like
said
that.
that some don't, or
It says right here. It said something about compatible. Let's go back. Plays
oh, okay,
compatible
wait,
Nintendo Switch games. So that
okay,
means they're opening the
yeah, yeah,
door for there potentially to be some that aren't compatible. And so I don't know if
okay,
that's mostly going to be functional. Maybe there's something with function that
yeah,
makes
because
it
even
not
the
ideal.
Wii Sport Nintendo Switch Sports there or whatever, it showed
Right.
the like that
Well, everything
works
about
because I
this
mean,
console, and this is something I'm curious what you think about too. Everything about it, here, I'll just pause on this kind of shot of it right here. There you go. Everything about the Nintendo Switch 2, it's so much the Nintendo Switch 1. And I'm curious what you think about
yeah,
that. It is it is not a revolutionary, game-changing thing, but is
Yeah.
we've talked about this before, and I think I've probably been on record saying I just want it to be better, make it much better tech, but I love the Switch. So give me more of the Switch. So is that really what I wanted? Is that what I thought I wanted? Now I'm seeing it and I'm kind of like, maybe this is kind of cool, I guess. Is there part of me that's a little disappointed that on Christmas Day I got the same thing I got 8 years ago? It's just a little better version of it. You know what I mean? Is there a little
Right.
part of me that's feeling that way? I don't know. What do you think about it being so similar to the predecessor?
I mean, I think that disappointment does make sense because with Nintendo, I mean, Nintendo for a long time was known for doing wacky, innovative things and different things. And I definitely have seen people express that with this being like, okay, so it's like just more powerful. It's literally just a more powerful Switch. Like that's all it is. Um, I'm personally fine with it because I still treated my Switch like a mostly console, anyways. Rarely did I really play it handheld. But I like the idea of it. I think it's a fun idea having this thing be, something small you could play on the couch and bring it places, but then also
Mhm.
treat it like a console. So yeah, I mean, for me, I don't actually care. I'm fine. I don't. I'm not really a person that gets mad about these sort of things easily, like a lot of people do. It's like, is it going to play prettier Nintendo games? Awesome. Um,
Yeah.
hopefully that power will supplement like the creativity that they can do more things. Like having that power that it's not just like, oh, games will look prettier, which is what we've been dealing with for a long time. But we'll see. It's machine's not even out yet, so
It's not even out yet. I do think there's
yeah,
some valid takes, criticisms, questions at least, saying they did this with the Wii to the Wii U. Is this
yeah,
not
yeah,
similar to
yeah.
that? And so at first I was like, no, it's totally different. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I see what they're saying. It is a slight iteration, um, with just a little bit of a name change. It's not, you know what I mean? Like there's something to it. Now putting the two on there does make it pretty clear. This is the sequel. This is the next one.
Right.
They didn't try to cutesy it up in any way, like with Wii U. It didn't make any sense at all. Everyone's like, what? Um,
Yeah.
so so that part I get that people are saying no, it's different, but I think there's enough similarities there that it's valid to say, hey, I'm a little wary or maybe even concerned that this is going to be a step back for them.
I
But
wanted to ask you because going through the whole direct and like watching it, it really like not just like comparison wise, but there was just kind of an energy with this direct that did kind of feel like Wii U energy. So kind of like, ooh, I don't know, we'll see. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. It's still more interesting than the Wii U. I
I
mean,
agree. There
overall,
was definitely something about it that had me going. Okay, it didn't have the same arrogance as the Xbox One or PlayStation 3 or Nintendo
yeah,
Wii U. Each company has kind of had their time to be like a little bit feeling themselves a little bit. You know what I mean? So it didn't quite have that arrogance, but it does feel a little bit out of touch is even the right word. I don't know what the word is, but it just didn't feel quite right.
that
There's
might be
a
what.
lack,
That's probably one. Yeah,
maybe, and maybe out of touch. Maybe
smarmy,
it's
a little
just this
smarmy.
a little, and also honestly, it's the innovation piece, and we'll keep watching through this, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like there's that magical innovation piece. The closest thing to it
Sure.
to me is the mouse controls with the. I think that's
Right,
kind of
right.
interesting, and if it works well, that is a really cool upgrade, right? That's a new way to interact with the system, that I can see being like actually useful. So like the Switch itself, its whole concept of like you mentioned being on the couch, on a trip, on the toilet, or anywhere in your bed, and you can play it or you could like that concept was novel and great, and it works with every game that's on there, and I love it. The
Yeah,
idea of a mouse could be really great where there's a lot of games that are strategy centric or with aiming with Metroid. They showed that as an example. There could be some cool uses for that mouse if it works well. So I'm holding out hope that when I get my hands on it and I'm playing with it and I use the mouse controls, that I'm like, dude, I was wrong. This feels like a totally new Nintendo thing, and I'll love it if that's the case, you know. But if I end up
yeah.
playing it just like I do my current Switch, I don't know. Then I might be looking at my wallet going, did I just spend $500 to get another Mario Kart on the same ish console? You know,
I mean,
I don't know.
and some other stuff we'll get to, but.
and some other stuff. All right, let's keep going here. Um, so yeah, there's a shot of the Switch 2. I do think it looks nice, but again, looks very, very similar. Should it have looked different? I don't know. All right, so then they get into this welcome tour
Is
saga.
another egregious thing.
Okay, the idea of the welcome tour, I think, is creative and cool. It's like they liked what Astrobot did, and they say, hey, let's do something similar. But we're not really going through the history of Nintendo. We're just going to introduce them to the Switch. Now, if there's history of Nintendo here that I missed, maybe I missed it. But it seems to me like they're just explaining. They have mini games in here explaining the console, right? Isn't that kind of what this
Right,
is?
right, right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
welcome tour.
So, what was the thing on the Nintendo Land?
Oh
The
yeah,
Nintendo Land.
yeah, but that had
So,
actual games, didn't it?
right, which and the actual games that like showing you the technology
Yeah,
in the
yeah. I never did
the
play
Wii,
that,
was it
but
Wii
yeah,
U? It
that
was
was
Wii U. Um,
yeah.
but
Oh,
that
was it? No, I
the
can't
main
remember.
difference here, and we'll get here in a second, Tim, is that was free. Here, we'll see in a moment.
Not free. Now, this is where I'm a little bit okay. So it's got some mini games. Okay,
Hmm.
but again, is it worth money? Are they, what are we talking about with
Is it
is
worth
it
money?
$5? Is it $10?
Well,
Does it come with the
maracas,
Switch?
Tim. You could do
Does it
maracas.
is it does it only cost money if you don't subscribe? Maybe Switch Online users will get it for free or super cheap or something. They should do
No,
something
this is
like that
definitely this is you're paying for it. Available
as a
same day as
paid
Switch 2 as
digital
a
only game.
digital only game.
A paid
That's
digital
the
only game.
egregious part. So that you're literally paying for a tutorial essentially.
Well, then no one's gonna get it. Like that's gonna be stupid.
Sure.
Like why? It's gonna have
Yeah.
to either be super cheap or free with your online subscription is a great way to get subs. Here's a nice little fun experience you can have if you subscribe. Or they need to make it super cheap. Like, can you imagine? What if that thing is over $20 for that tour?
I think even
Like
putting it
to
behind the paywall would be like the people would be pissed off. It's like, "Oh, so you're going to put a tutorial behind a paywall?" Like
yeah,
like you can't
yeah.
win with that either.
It's pretty dumb. Now
It does seem silly.
that right there, that's exactly what you were just saying. That part seems very tone deaf, right? Very out of touch to
Yeah.
make people
Yeah. Yeah.
pay for an introductory mini game collection that is teaching you about the system, which feels like something that should fire up as an option when you first start the system. Do you want to try out the
Right.
welcome tour? Like,
Like
anyway,
on the PS5 that Astrobot like tech demo thing.
Astrobot. Well, I wouldn't even expect. I thought that was way above and beyond what they had to do. I still think because
Right.
I'm
Right.
sure you played it too. They could have charged for that, and I would have been like, yeah, that was so good. It was
Yeah.
worth paying for. But they didn't charge for it. This doesn't look
Right.
even like a tenth of the quality or the fun of that, and they're charging for it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is not great. Now, the Pro Controller 2 having the audio jack, I know that sounds silly, but that is a huge upgrade. The other one didn't, and I do like being able to
Right.
have it docked to be able to have my Pro Controller and hear the sound right from the controller. I do like that. Um,
Yep.
so that was a nice improvement. Let's keep jumping forward here. June 5th is the release date, which
It
is
is.
exactly
Tim,
2 months.
very soon. Very soon. I
It's
actually am
exactly
a
two
bit
months from
shocked at
today.
that.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Um, Game Type 1. What did I miss here? What's he talking about with Game Type 1? Nintendo Switch 2 games.
Oh, he's talking about all the so I'm actually still confused on this. What is the deal with like what's the deal with these empty carts? Like there's like just these empty carts that you can buy, and I think you put the digital cart in them, and that's what you
What?
can put like on the second. That's what you could use on the like I don't actually understand why these exist. I'm so confused.
Oh,
I think I'm most confused about this whole
all right.
situation,
Well,
to
I
be
didn't know that. I
honest.
thought he was. I'm gonna look that up now. That's interesting. So
Yeah.
this to me was them saying there's three types of games you can play. You've got your Nintendo Switch 2 games like Mario Kart World. You've got your compatible Nintendo Switch games that will play just like you're used to them playing, and then you have your upgraded versions, which I think they dove
Oh, okay.
into.
So they're talking about this here. I might be jumping ahead, but there's
Okay.
something about like these little empty like cartridges, that when like kind of
Oh,
like when you
okay,
buy the game,
okay.
you get the cartridge.
Oh, I think
But like
we might have
there's
passed that.
oh, did we?
Yeah, this
Oh
right
yeah,
here.
there it is. Yeah. Yeah, game card.
I think
So
they
it's
were
like I
just
don't understand.
showing you the size of the cards, how they're the same size. Let me
Oh,
turn on
there's
the sounds
something. I
here.
swear, there's something where like you're putting the digital versions of the games.
They're saying it's
I don't
just
know, man.
red, same size, now has faster data reading speeds. I just turned the sound on so I could hear it.
It might be later
So if
then. I don't know.
it might be later, okay, okay. All right, so they talk a lot about Mario Party and how there's a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of that game,
Mhm.
which that's fine. Mario Party is a good time, and there is something cool about being able to invite friends via game share to play this. And Kyle made the joke of, "I'm going to finally make you idiots play this with me because you don't have to even buy a game. There's no excuse to ignore me anymore." So
I already
yes,
have
Kyle.
Mario Party.
All right. Well, I will absolutely play it with you guys. It's a good time when you've got friends that you can make fun of and laugh at the absurdity of it all together.
Exactly.
It is a good time. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. So there's a whole bunch of Mario Party stuff. Let's see.
Well, you know,
Okay. So
obviously,
upgrade packs.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big
yeah,
part
yeah.
of this. Do you know anything? Did they say anything about cost of upgrade packs? I don't think they have.
I mean, I don't know all the costs, the final prices of some of these games, so I'm guessing whatever it's normally $60, right? So then it'd probably be like $20 for that Mario Party one, for example. Because if that game
So
is
if you
80,
own it,
like
you think it might be $20 for you to have the Switch 2
I
edition.
think
Or
I
if
would,
you
yeah, it would be
own
either 10 or 20.
so if you own, like, I own Breath of the Wild. No, I own Tears of the Kingdom digital version. So
Right.
that game was $70 digital version. But I used
Okay.
Nintendo vouchers, so I got it for 50. And so I
Yeah.
own a digital copy of it, and it'd be interesting if they want me to pay 20 more dollars for some of these upgrades. I probably
I think
won't
that
do
seems
that.
to be, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'll
Yeah.
do
See,
that.
the
Now,
10 or 20.
yeah, 20 is too much. 10, I would consider it because that's not too bad. It's kind of getting DLC, and they've added some things. I'm not that I would ever use an app. Sorry, I'm not trying to be negative, but no one ever uses an app for a game. I shouldn't say no one. Very few people use an app for a game. Like I won't use that. But
I
I
mean,
appreciate what
listen,
they're trying
they
to
had
do.
some little like mobile dev make this whole like GPS style thing. If you want to just know where everything is and you want something to tell you, sure. It's not
Yeah,
affecting my life, but
yeah.
um it's not, yeah, it's not something I would use. So,
And also the idea of sharing creations with people via QR code on the app. Like, here, I'll send you the card that I built or whatever. And here, okay, that's
yeah,
fine. Um, so there's going to be new content or an upgraded version of Kirby and the Forgotten Land as well, which my son
game's so
Shepard
good.
is very excited about. He actually played that game a ton. He, like, I don't know if he 100%ed it, but he got close. He upgraded like everything. Like, he was
It's
all
a
over
fun
this
game,
game
dude.
and really loved it. So he was excited to see this. He's like, that's the kind of situation where I would happily spend an upgrade pack if he got a Switch 2 for him to be able to re-experience it with, upgrades, because he would replay it.
Yeah.
Um, all right, and then they talk about Metroid Prime 4, the Beyond, which has, again, it's just going to be mostly better looking textures. Which, by the way, I do think this game looks really pretty. I really do. I think
Mm,
the design on it is great. Um, but it's going to have better, frames per second. You can see there. There you go. Quality mode. Handheld mode's gonna be
yeah.
1080, 60. Handheld mode, you could also go 120, but that's gonna be at 720p. Um, and then on docked, it's gonna be an upgraded version of that, 4K or 1080p. Kind of similar to what you see with other modern consoles, where you pick performance or quality modes for
Right.
things. Pokemon Legends Z to A, same thing. Some upgrades if you get the Nintendo Switch 2
Still can't seem to
version.
care about this, Tim.
I'm skipping ahead. Okay, purchasing an upgrade pack. Don't know what that means, but there you go. There's an upgrade pack. As far as
Well,
like the
that's
pricing, I don't
that's
know
the
what
bump
exactly what
up.
that means.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then they talked about this wheelchair game, which was, at first I was like, nah, but then I was like, oh, you know what, that's kind of cool. Not only did they come up with a game version reason for you to learn how to do the mouse controls on something, but
Mm,
they created it in a game that you don't really see. Like, you're not going to see this kind of like wheelchair sports, which are pretty cool. So whatever, I think this is fine. It's kind of a little bit of a Rocket
yeah.
League looking thing, handball looking thing. So anyway, um, but it's a cool way to use that new feature or to try out the new feature. But I'll say what we just talked about with the Welcome Tour again. Is this a full price game, or is this something that should be potentially free or cheap? You know,
Yeah, I wonder if this will just be like a digital only, like 20. maybe $30 game. Um, Again, it is showcasing the mouse thing,
It
and
is.
I think it's actually, if it's done well, like in like a
Could be fun.
way that feels, yeah, it feels like you're, in is it Paralympics? Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, the kind of like that. It's done in a
Dude, it
nice
reminds me
sensitive
of
way.
when
Then,
I used to love the show Friday Night Lights, and there's a main character who gets paralyzed and ends up joining a wheelchair basketball
mm,
league, and they get really
yeah,
intense about it. And it just reminds me of that. But it's got a little
yeah. So
touch
if
of
it's done
Rocket
well,
League
then that could be cool.
flair to it. Yeah,
Right, yeah, yeah. Although the backgrounds look incredibly boring, so it's like
yeah.
you can maybe
Does not
spice
look
that
like
up, but it's
it
fine. It's
doesn't
fine.
look like the most high quality. Um,
Yeah.
Another reason to buy Elden Ring, Dan. Another reason to buy Elden Ring.
You
Uh,
mean the best second Souls game? Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You meant to say second best, and you're wrong either way you word it. It
All
is
right.
not.
Dusk Bloods will be the second best. No.
Which, by the way, that they announced that towards the end of this. Spoiler alert! It sounds like it's going to lean into a battle royale type approach to that world. No, thank you, man. I'm
Well,
very
it's
much out.
PvPvE,
I
which
know, but
I
I've now
like when
seen
I.
some previews. People have gotten some interviews and have gotten
Mm,
more details, and they say it's about as close to a battle royale type thing that they've done. Uh,
okay.
So yeah, I'm not in. Not in. But Elden Ring coming to the Switch. I already own it two places, PS5 and PC. I don't need another copy of it, but the idea of getting it on the Switch too is appealing. Maybe if it's really good, if it turns out like, hey, this version's great. Okay, maybe. And I am the biggest proponent of that game, but I've already got it two places. Hades 2 coming
Yeah.
to the Switch too, though, that's pretty big. So Hades 2, awesome game. I only got to the first boss really in my time with the early access so far on PC, but I
Yeah.
am excited that this is coming to Switch. Hades 1 also, if you remember, was a major Switch game for a little while
Right.
before it hit other
Right.
consoles.
Right. Right.
So
Capcom.
totally makes sense. Yeah, Capcom's bringing Street Fighter 6. We'll skip ahead a little bit. And then they talked about Daemon X Machina X. No, what's it called? Daemon X
Yeah,
Machina
it's a sequel.
Titan-
Uh,
Titanic Scion.
Titanic Scion. Yeah.
Titanic Scion. There you go. Coming out in September. Split Fiction coming. This Split Fiction I think is a beautiful game. I recommend if you're going to play
Mm,
this, play it on the most powerful console you've got. And if it turns out that's going to be the Switch 2, great. Play it on Switch 2. But if you've got a PS5 or Series X or
yeah.
PC for that matter where you can play multiplayer, that's where I recommend playing it. But I'm glad it's coming to Switch 2. This is a truly awesome game. I loved it. It's one of my favorites of this year.
Yeah. I mean, the emphasis on co-op definitely, I think, works well with the that would work
It
well with the
really
Switch. So
does. It really does. And the fact that you can, get one copy to be able to play, that's great. So I'll
yeah.
always be a supporter of that game. I love Split Fiction. Madden coming back to Nintendo. It's been a while since we've had Madden. That was a pretty big deal. Hogwarts Legacy is already on the Switch, but it sounds like this is going to be a much improved version, which it needs. I've heard that the Switch version is pretty bad.
This
So
is the
this,
this is
I
the
think, might help.
montage of games that have already been out, right?
Yes, it is. That's right. A lot of new consoles will get this, right? They'll get ports of games that are like improved versions, or it's finally hitting. And
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 it's gonna come to Switch as well. Keep skipping ahead here. Come out this summer. The Hitman
Hitman
trilogy coming. Again, a huge fan of those games. The James Bond game
and
that they're making.
James Bond game. So that's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
Project 00, still called Project 007, which tells me this is not going to be out anytime soon. It's a
Let
lot
it
of that because
cook.
all they have so far
Let
is
it
like
cook.
the classic like
Oh,
James
oh,
Bond
here we
barrel.
go.
All right, now this one is the Bravely Default remake, right, or remaster?
Yeah.
Which is it?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Remake or
Yep.
remaster?
It's a remaster. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
remaster.
Looks
Um.
amazing. Love the style.
Yes.
Now this
Very.
is something that I would think could be on the Switch One also, unless there's something that I'm missing
Right.
about it.
You would think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it could run on a 3DS, so why wouldn't be able to run on a Switch?
Yeah. Bunch of mini
Because
games,
that's what
which
it
is
came
really
out to. So.
cool. Bravely Default Flying Fairy
Flying Fairy.
HD remake. What's flying? Was that the subtitle of the first game?
I believe so.
I thought it was just called Bravely Default. We're getting Yakuza 0, I think, is the one that this is. Yeah, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. It's coming to the Switch too.
Maybe it was just.
Keep jumping
Oh,
ahead
maybe in
here. We've
Japan.
got.
Okay.
Oh, okay. In Japan, it was called Flying Fairy.
Yeah, it was called Bravely Default Flying Fairy. Yeah.
Okay. So we got a new Hyrule Warriors game announced, which is going to take place during. Um, what's the war called? I forget what the name of the war
Oh,
is.
I don't
It's
remember,
in the
but
title.
basically leading up to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you get a lot of the flashbacks of her being with the king and queen in this setting during Tears of the Kingdom, and now you get to actually play out the war in Hyrule Warriors fashion. Something war. What's it called? Oh, Age of Imprisonment, not war. Age of Imprisonment. That's what it was. Yeah. So there you go. Coming out this winter.
leading the
So very
story.
cool. Um, all right, and then they are adding.
Here we
So
go
all the
too.
online stuff you can use, and then they're going to add GameCube, which was pretty exciting. I really did like seeing
Yes.
that little opening. I was like, sweet.
Yep.
No reason this couldn't run on the regular Switch, but they're making it exclusive to Switch 2
Sure.
for some
Yeah.
reason.
It's well because it's gonna
Um,
encourage people to buy a Switch. Be like, oh, I
it will
guess I gotta
because
buy.
people have
I
been
have to buy a Switch.
clamoring for Wind Waker, and you're finally going to get to
Mm-hmm.
play it without pretty much any improvements. It looks the same, uh, but it's a great game. It's a wonderful game, but this game deserves a true modern remaster, or if not a remake, then a remaster.
Well, it has one. It had a remaster.
Okay, yes, it deserves one that we can actually play, that people have a console to
Right.
play it
Yeah.
on.
That's the
Yeah.
funny thing. Exactly.
So then you've got Soul Calibur 2 as well, which I know a lot of people love
Dude.
that. And then F Zero, I forget the name. Oh, GX, F Zero GX.
Yeah. This one's insane because people have been clamoring for just a new F Zero, let alone that one. So
Yeah, yeah. And you can play online multiplayer for any of the online games that have multiplayer. So more titles coming. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, that's huge.
yeah.
Original Luigi's Mansion, that's cool.
Dude,
Pokemon
Chibi Robo,
Coliseum.
I barely know anything about that game, but like that's a really hard one to find. That's very expensive.
One that they
So
didn't list there, though, Dan, was Eternal Darkness. That's one that people want.
sure,
So they should put
sure.
it on there.
You gotta wait for it. You gotta earn that.
If you are a Switch Online member, you can also get a GameCube controller if you want to. Just like you could with the other systems that are on Switch Online, you can get specialized controllers. I assume it's going to also be available eventually in regular stores, and you can buy it from other people. But they're starting out to make it available just for people who have online
Yeah.
subscriptions. So, all right, let's keep moving ahead here. We've got Deltarune. Fast forwarding here a little bit. Borderlands 4 is going to come to the Switch
Lance.
too. We've got Civ 7 coming to the Switch too.
Now you can use a mouse.
And now you can use a mouse. That's right. That the 2K games, both wrestling and basketball, NBA, are coming. Oh, this was like a multiplayer survival game.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
watching somebody
called.
and they were talking about because I think this is Konami actually. And
Hmm?
they were like, "Oh shoot, is this like a new version of this game?" And they brought up this like old DS game or something.
What?
I think this is yeah, I think this is like a new Survival Kids.
Survival
That's what it was.
Kids.
Yeah, there was like a Survival Kids game on like the DS, or I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
Don't totally quote me on that. So that's actually kind of
Okay.
cool.
Cool. Yeah, Survival Kids is a launch game. We also have Enter the Gungeon 2, which is going
Yeah,
to be on the Switch too. Now, Enter the Gungeon is
this
something that
looks cool.
I have not played, and I know that's probably something that I would enjoy because do sometimes like a good, shoot 'em up roguelike style game. I need to give this one a try, but I never
Yeah,
did.
this
This
looks
one,
pretty wild.
look how awesome that looks, man. Looks great.
Yeah,
So Enter the Gungeon 2, and then we've got what is this one? I was gonna
yeah.
say Astroneer. Oh, Star Seeker.
Astroneer
Astroneer Expeditions.
Expeditions.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's from that studio. We got Cyberpunk 2077 coming to Switch 2.
All right, so
So
actually, you know what?
go ahead.
Oh no, no, sorry. You go ahead first.
I was just gonna say, similar to what was the other game that I mentioned where it's like, hey, just play it. Oh, Split Fiction. I feel
Yeah,
like this game deserves the most powerful tech you've got in the house. But if that
sure.
happens to be the Switch 2, when you get a Switch 2 someday, great, play it there. I think it's cool that it's coming there. Same with like Witcher 3. I like that CD Projekt Red makes it work. But anyway, go ahead.
So we actually, I like actually forgot, and then this just came on, and that's what triggered the memory. So anybody who was watching this live, which I was, and I was watching one of my favorite streamers also. He was, dude, he was going through like way the emotions, Tim. This dude was going through emotions during this whole thing, and not good ones. He's like, "Where is my Nintendo? What are they doing?"
Wow.
Um, but the stream froze, like just straight up froze, like the
Oh, see, I
image, but
watched
the
it later on
audio,
that day.
okay, but the audio was still going.
Uh-oh.
So like, so everyone's freaking out, and literally then you hear the point where they're talking about cyberpunk, and the whole stream is frozen. So it's just ironic because, well,
Whoa.
cyberpunk, being what it
They got
was, and
hacked.
the yeah, the whole stream getting crashed and not working properly.
Oops. Yeah, oopsies.
So it was funny.
Well, so not only that one, but also Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade coming to Switch 2,
Yes,
which
finally, Tim.
is that on Xbox yet?
No,
It's on
no,
Xbox.
it's not.
That's interesting, right? It's the first um, console beside PlayStation that's getting remake, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They don't want
So
to play
that
ball with
part
Xbox,
alone,
apparently.
yeah, that part alone is kind of makes it this is more unique announcement, right? Is that you could play it on the PS5 or on the PC, but now you have the option to play it on another console, which you didn't have the chance to do before, if you want to, on the Switch 2. So,
Yeah.
Dan, I don't know if people know this, but we love this game. It's really good.
Yeah,
You
it's fine.
especially love this game.
Fine.
Um,
Yeah, it's okay.
but you know, I'm going to stop saying this. Obviously, if you've got a better console, if you have a PS5, play it there. But it is cool that it's coming to the Switch too. I do think it's cool that it's arriving there.
I mean, based off of like the kind of like minimal stuff that they told us tech wise towards the beginning of all this, like it should look fine and like play well on this
Yeah,
machine. But
I
yeah, I mean
agree.
PC version's gonna be, the best
Now, this
fidelity
game I
and
played a little
frame
bit,
rate.
Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, that should run
Hmm.
fine on that system. It's a unique game.
Oh,
Hollow Knight
Silksong.
Silksong,
Silksong.
I don't
Still
believe it's ever
exists.
coming out. I don't believe it.
It's coming.
Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar, Goodnight Universe, Two Point Museum, Mouse. That's
Mm-hmm.
actually a really good use
Yeah.
for the mouse.
Mouse.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, there you go. Wild Hearts is
Wild
coming
Hearts,
back, Tim.
Wild Hearts S. That's interesting that they're
It's
giving it
coming
new
back.
life, right? Okay, Witchbrook.
Witchbrook.
I'm excited for this game. This is
Yes.
the folks who did it's Chucklefish. Um, they
Yeah, so
published
they
Stardew
published.
Valley, but they
Yep.
also
Yep.
made what did they make? We talked about it last week.
Oh, did they make something? I thought that
I
they had
think so.
just published Stardew, and then I'm
Dang
sure
it!
they've
Now I gotta look
published
it up.
other things, but
Yeah,
yeah.
they've developed games.
Okay.
Starbound,
Well,
Wargroove, and Wargroove 2, which I love the Wargroove games. I played them a
oh,
lot.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But of course, they published other stuff. So there you go. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, which looks way more epic than I ever thought a Rune Factory could. All right,
I
let's
know.
look at this one real quick. Marvel Cosmic Invasion.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
this takes me right back to like, I didn't have a ton of arcade days, but when I did, I loved these kind of multiplayer beat 'em ups. I loved these
For
kind of
sure.
games. So this looks great. Star Wars Outlaws,
Star
another
Wars.
re-release. Interesting that it's on Switch too. That's kind of cool. You can take it on the go. And then here's a more of the sizzle reel there. So there you go. Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition. It's a launch game. Fast Fusion will be a launch game. That looks cool.
Fully awakened.
A little bit of F-Zero like. Shadow Labyrinth will
Dude,
hit this July.
this game just is wild.
Yeah. Here's that one
No
you were talking
remastered.
about. Raidu Remastered.
Yeah.
No sleep. This is a AI Somnium Files game. Reanimal from the shoot. What's that? What's that? Those
Little
two of them.
Nightmares.
Little Nightmares. Yeah, devs have this game
Yep.
called Reanimal.
And, which they're making a third one too, which is wild.
Yeah, they are, and they're making this new one. Shocker.
Fortnite. No way. No way.
Totally shocked. Arcade Archives Ridge Racer.
Dude, I've actually missed that one.
Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. That's a fun
Yeah.
game. Tamagotchi
Tama.
Plaza.
Hold on. So, how did you say that, Tim? Can you say that again?
Tamagotchi Plaza.
Yeah, so
What?
during this the direct the guy kept calling it Tamagotchi, remember?
Oh yeah,
Tamagotchi.
yeah. You know what? This is
He
worth
kept
turning the
saying it
sound on
weird.
for. Hang on.
Unless
Let
it
me turn the
wasn't in this
sound
one.
on.
Oh no, this was on the other direct, right? I think it was the other direct. That's what
Let's
I'm
find
thinking.
out. Let me turn it on a little bit to make you hear this.
I think
Oh,
it's
they
just
don't say it.
music. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's Tamagotchi. Okay,
Correct. Correct.
it's Tamagotchi. Um.
You're right.
All right. So we got Tamagotchi Plaza coming out at the end of June. Shortly after launch, Human Fall Flat 2, which is a goofy game from Devolver. At least the first one is goofy. I assume the second one will be.
Looks pretty goofy.
And yeah, then there's the sizzle reel. And then they dive into a couple of bigger announcements here at the end. The first one looked a lot like Bloodborne. And people got really excited. Like, number one, why is this on a Switch Direct? What is happening?
Right. Right.
Um, and it really gave people Bloodborne vibes, and it still does. I still think it's got a lot of course, it's the same dev, so it makes
Oh,
sense
it's
to,
clearly Bloodborne aesthetically, but not Bloodborne,
but not
literally.
Bloodborne, right? So I'll just fast forward a little bit. You guys can go watch the trailer for it if you want to. It does look cool. Like this whole
Yeah.
vampire take on it too is awesome. Um, it is a Switch 2 console exclusive in 2026. I'm sure that'll change at some point. It'll probably be on PC, but it is a PvPvE game, and multiple people who have, I don't know if they've actually had a chance to interview the director directly or just seen a translation of an interview, but they're saying, is it kind of like a battle royale? It's not unlike one, in terms of like the Souls experience. To me, the more I heard about it, and I haven't looked super deeply into it, it sounds like it's got similarities with Night Rain, where you get online, but it doesn't have the limitation to like 3 people. So I don't know, man. This one has me questioning, do I care about it? Because as soon as you introduce the online component, it's got to be multiplayer, whatever. I start to kind of My interest in Souls games is already hit or miss. But if it's not a single player RPG, I'm not that interested usually.
I mean, they've technically all had online, right? But it's more teaming up with people or when someone invades your world,
I
you
mean,
fight
to
them.
the
But
degree that you allow it to be, I just don't allow it to be. My
right, right,
entire
right.
Elden Ring experience, for those hundreds of hours was totally solo, and I loved it. I loved being
Yeah.
alone in that world. No one bothered me.
It's
Um,
interesting that you're saying battle royale because this you saying that is the first time I'm hearing any of that particular detail about this game. So I'm curious if that's definitely true, if there's some kind of mistranslation or something, because
yeah,
that's kind
could
of
be.
that's like, I don't know, like I don't know about that one.
I'm gonna look it up real quick to see.
Yeah, because
Uh,
PvPvE, which is a mouthful, is technically what the Souls games have always been because you can PvP people and then PvE is, also you could do that. So that's technically
right.
always been the case, but if it's being forced,
So
that's a
people
whole
are
other
just saying
story.
it's got
But
more in common with online battle royales than it does Bloodborne.
mm, okay. Well,
So
sure. Yeah. It's not a single player game. They've established that, so
right. Let me pause this real quick. I mean, if you follow any Souls content creators like Fighting Cowboy, who I think does a good job, he kind of uses
mm,
a battle royale kind of. Is it a battle royale? Question mark. Let's discuss. And so there's an element of
yeah.
it that sounds more battle royale like,
Huh.
but it
Okay.
does have the PvPvE element in it. So maybe
Right.
it's. Do you remember that hunt, the showdown, the hunt game? Maybe it's more like that.
Yes. Oh, okay. You like there's creatures out in the world and you
Yeah,
are
you're like on a team and you're
interacting.
going against each other, but you
Yeah.
can definitely have to take on the environment too. So maybe it's more like that.
Yeah. That game's really cool. I mean, the menus are obtuse as hell, but
Yes, it is.
that game is super
So
cool.
it's an interesting game. It's a hard game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so maybe it's more like that, where you can team up, you can go
Yeah,
against each
that
other,
that
and you
makes
got to
sense.
fight bosses. But that's me guessing. Okay, that's not me.
I
Guys,
think
don't take
that's a
that to
good
the bank.
guess, Tim.
Don't take it to the bank.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Don't do it. All right, I believe they. Oh, they did not end with this. No, this was I think the second to last reveal. So I'll just skip ahead. It's new Kirby Air Ride, now called Air
Right.
Riders. which I
Rider.
never played
Yeah.
the GameCube one of this game,
Yeah, I
but
didn't either.
it is by the Smash Bros guy, right? Sakurai. Pretty sure it's him.
I totally forgot.
Kirby Air Ride. There you go. And now it's called Air
Riders.
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 Yeah.
Plural.
So that's all we
And
got of it was like a little teaser.
oh, okay. Yeah, Sakurai. Yeah.
There you go. Coming
He
in
knows how to
this
make
year.
games, Tim.
He does indeed. And then we got to look at what looked like it might be Odyssey 2 for a minute. Like
I
parts of
know.
me
I
went, huh?
really thought it was.
Huh?
I really thought it was.
Until you see the tie.
Monkey's right there.
Yeah, the monkeys. That was starting to give it away. And then someone busting through was like, okay, what Nintendo characters bust through things? There's not that many. And then boom. I thought it was Diddy for a second with the hat, but then I saw the tie.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think
I was
they.
like,
Yeah, I think they were like trying to trick us.
yeah, teasing you a little bit. Um, but Dan, what was your reaction to this game overall? What do you think about this as you're looking at the Donkey Kong? I think it's called Bonanza or Bonanzas.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to it, and how do you feel about this one?
Oh yeah. This would be the thing I was second most excited.
Yeah,
This looks awesome because I mean, like, people do kind of crap on Donkey Kong 64.
but look, it's
But
got
this,
these
I don't
like
know.
mining elements to it, right? A little bit of this
Yeah, he's
Steam
like
World
literally
dig.
breaking through the environment. Yeah, like he's literally breaking down. He's like doing the freaking ground pound into the ground and then just like
Yeah.
punching through like. And he looks so animated, like especially his facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Some of the
actually missed
classic
that. I
side
don't even know how
scrolling.
I missed that. The side scrolling stuff. Like I
Mm-hmm.
actually somehow missed that the first go through. But
Yeah, I think I wonder too. Like, is the game 100% destructible? Do they have certain areas where you can pound into the
right.
walls and ground and that kind of thing to
Yeah,
get
like
gold
this
out? So
world is like a mining centric world versus
right,
another one. Yeah, yeah,
or is it
yeah.
all that way? But regardless, it's a cool feature. You can pick up parts of the ground, use it to wipe away other elements of the ground, to throw at enemies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, I'm all in on this game. I'm pumped for this one, and it's within the launch window, which is really surprising. I thought they would say something like
Yeah.
holiday or maybe even 2026. I thought this was a teaser, but this is coming in July, right?
It's sooner than we think. Yeah, because I'm what
Yeah,
yeah, July
there it
17th.
was. July
Um
17th.
so it's like
Boom.
yeah, I'm wondering what they do have going on for the holidays, like, or are they just gonna let third parties kind of like rule the holiday season? But
Yeah, we know that they've got Pokemon ZA, but that can't be all they let carry their new console for the holiday.
oh, I mean it's
Is that
Pokemon though. They probably do
mm,
think.
maybe? Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
so. Of course, this just looks like so much fun. I'm really
it
excited
does.
for this one. I love a good platformer. Um, I loved Astrobot, loved Mario Odyssey, and I am pumped to play this. Now, DK64 was not my favorite. I know some people have a soft spot for it. I get it. I I liked it, but I didn't love it. But
Yeah.
this looks like they've really found some fun gameplay hooks, and I'm excited for that. So
Well, his movements just look great. Like it looks really fluid, but like he's like a big old gorilla guy, so he's smashing through things. But like he's doing that role like they introduced in Mario Odyssey, right? Or I think that's where they introduced him rolling.
hmm
So it kind of
yeah,
has
they
like
did.
that. There's like a rhythm to his movement in this. It looks like where you're smashing through things and dealing with enemies and rolling around and like, yeah, it just looks really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sam, what do you think overall? Let's talk about the everything from the pricing, release date, and then the things that fall out a little bit afterwards that we've seen with Nintendo. So, pricing is $450 for the system, and probably even more of an impact than that was the announcement that digital games, of course, not all, but major Nintendo published and maybe even other published Nintendo Switch 2 games digitally will cost $80. Some physical might get
Yeah.
up to 90. So, does that mean everything? No. But the fact that they're even saying it means that it's going to be a lot of them, and maybe all the major ones, right? Like maybe the next Mario Odyssey 2 will be $90 if you want it as a cart, 80 if you want it to, like
Yeah.
that's significant, man. So that was a bigger piece of news I thought than even the 450.
Mm.
I still think 450 is just $50 too much. I think $399 might have been the sweet spot for people to like not really whine about it too much. But that extra $50, just it feels like okay, first you're gonna raise your game prices. Now you want me to pay almost $500. You know what I mean? Like it's got that
Sure.
threshold that it's hitting. So, but what are your thoughts on the pricing?
I mean, because we might as well just rope in the whole political landscape bullshit that's happening too. Because I'm wondering if they were thinking about 400, and then with sorry, the orange man winning, like, did they kind of start being like, oh, well, he's talking about this tariff stuff? And I'm wondering if a few months ago they were kind of like, all right, let's get this up to 450. And even right now, because they've said the pre-orders are on hold for the United States only because of the tariff bullshit
Right,
that's going on. So maybe they even crank it up higher. Like, I don't know. Like, because
right.
they're playing all these dumb games with, or he is, with these tariffs.
Yeah,
So
could
I don't
be. The
know. I'm
pricing could be
wondering.
there. I have a feeling that the pricing, especially for the console, isn't as connected. I'm not saying I know for a fact you're wrong, but my gut tells me it's not
Sure.
connected. The delay in the pre-orders, there's no doubt about that. They even said so, right? All this stuff going on with
Yeah, yeah,
tariffs and
yeah.
making it like so that is certainly
Right.
being impacted. I am
Yeah.
curious if the game prices announcement, they want us to know games could be up to 80, maybe 90 if it's physical.
Yeah.
That might be more of a direct, but that's just again, we're guessing. Like both of us are guessing from what we know.
Well, I think
From
that's the increase of like development costs, because that's been a discussion, right? And then the devs have even said that like games are costing so much more to make.
it
So
has, but yeah, those cards
yeah.
and those chips, they're not all made right there in Nintendo's factory, right? They're going to be outsourcing that to other countries, other places. So, as fear around how much is it going to cost us for these factories that we built in these other countries now is that our costs are different. So now our bottom line looks different. So there's so
Hmm.
many ripple effects from what's
Yeah.
happening here politically. Whether you agree or disagree, I have no idea what Dan thinks about it. But whether you agree or disagree with what current leadership is doing, it certainly is having a ripple effect. I am no financial expert. I all I know is I think this sucks right now. I don't know if it's the right long term play. There are some people who are listening and watching who are like, "You don't understand. It's going to be good in the future." Okay, maybe you're right, man. But right now, it just feels like it's having a lot of negative. It's raising the tension around a lot of
Yeah,
industries, and it's
it's
funny. We're on a video game podcast, and it's even
right.
affecting what we're talking about. So like the tension around the globe is increasing, even if 1 to 10 years from now we look back and say, yeah, the tariff thing wasn't as bad as we thought. I see what was like, even if that's the case, which I'm not saying it is. um, it's just interesting to see the ripple effect that's happening all the way into our hobbies, which by the way, it's supposed to be our escape from a lot of this stuff. you know that's
Well,
that's the take that a lot of people have when they look at a game that injects modern politics into their games, unless it's like Metal Gear. I'm not
mm,
saying that that's great to have politics, that's exciting and fun and
sure.
unique. But when you inject cultural conversation and politics into games and it feels forced, that's where you get people upset. And now you've got this with us even being able to purchase them. It feels like politics are being injected into whether or not we can, when can we pre-order, how much is it going to be. It's just a crappy feeling, man. It just takes away the escapism of all of it, I think.
It's very well. I mean, with the terrorists, it's very literal. So, like, yeah, it's directly affecting all of us who want the thing. And again,
Yeah.
whether again, my tinfoil hat, like, oh, was it maybe gonna be 400? Um, but yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
there's no way
Like,
for us to know, but I'll say this: if Kamala had won and the price was 450, and the price was still the same, people who hate Trump or love Trump would have probably said the same thing. Like, oh, it would have been
oh
500 if
sure,
Trump had gotten in. If Trump had gotten in, it would have been 550, like without a doubt. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying you're wrong because I have no idea. I
dude.
don't have an uncle that
It's
works at
it's
Nintendo.
everything now. It's exhausting. Everything is even when it is in this case, it is literally being affected by the terrorist thing. It's just everything is fucking politics. I'm so
Yeah,
tired of
the
like this
pre-orders are certainly
sports
affected by things
game
like that.
mentality of
Yeah.
everything being about the politics. But
Yep. I
yeah,
agree.
I mean,
I agree.
it's yeah, and again, like it because we're older guys. We remember back in the day, like the
Hmm.
ads of going to a Toys R Us. Like, dude, Super
Yeah,
Nintendo games were also kind of around this price too. So
they were.
like it. it happened, and
That's right.
when you're thinking about inflation and all that, like it's like it kind of it does make sense, but like it just sucks. It's like 80, $90 is a lot of money to
It is
buy
a
on one
lot,
game. You know,
especially when you already feel like you're getting last place technology strength with Nintendo.
sure,
And that's not necessarily a dig because it's convenient and it's unique, and so it's okay.
yeah.
But now to be paying the most for now, software prices are probably going to go up across the board. We'll probably start hearing that more and more throughout this year. I'm guessing
Well,
other
that's with all that
console
GTA
phones.
6 stuff, right? There was people talking about, oh,
Yeah,
is are they gonna charge $80 like minimum?
I
Is it gonna
think
be a
so. I
hundred
think we will
dollars?
start to see. I think we'll start to see that with Sony and with Microsoft and with other big publishers. Just to have Nintendo do it first feels weird because they're so far behind in the
Yeah,
technology and
yeah,
introducing like, oh, now you can chat from your controller, and I'm like, you've been able to do that since like the 360. What are you talking about?
sure.
So they feel so far behind in some ways, but when it comes to charging more, they're right at the front. So that part feels really crappy. No matter how you slice
Yeah,
it, it's easy to put up a little chart and show inflation and how much things should be. I totally get it. I
sure.
really do. Like I understand the pushback saying stop whining. I get it. Yeah, I don't want to just be a whiner about it, but it is also okay to point out, some flaws in a plan, how it's being rolled out, how it's being explained.
I think
Um,
the mature criticism from both sides is correct in this case. Not both
yeah,
both correct because
yeah,
it makes sense to kind of be like I think bringing up inflation is important because it is valid, like it's true, but also
yeah.
it's not like it shouldn't be something that's like used as a like, hey, STFU people who don't want to drop not
Right.
like like single mom with two kids who's like, I just want to get my kids something fun because they deserve it. I'm a single mom. They want to play
Yeah,
like $90 for the new Mario game. What? Like,
that's
you know
right.
what I mean? Like, that's
I
just a
do.
lot,
Yeah,
man.
you're right. The inflation was playing a role building up to this anyway. And inflation has been a problem for a few years now. The
Yeah.
tariffs seem like they are supercharging the conversation, maybe
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actual prices and availability. I think there's a good argument to be made there for those who know economics way better than I do, and especially world economy, which to me feels way more complex than just US economy. So, so yeah, all those things are playing a role. And then you've got the fact that the overall launch lineup is not amazing.
Mm,
I'm trying to sound as positive as I can. I can't wait for Super Mario Kart World or whatever Mario Kart
yeah.
World. I'm so excited for it. DK, which comes out a month later, super excited for it. Most of the other things are upgrades of games I already have or have already played and probably won't buy an upgrade unless it's really cheap, like we've talked about. So as of right now, there are two games for the rest of this year that we know of, and there's going to be more. Awesome, but right now there's two games that I would look at and say that's why I would have a Switch 2. Now, am I planning on it? If I can get a pre-order, I'm probably going to get one because I'm very excited. I really do want to play it. Right? I'm a sucker, so I'll get one. But if I really were to break down on like a spreadsheet, like the value I'm getting out of it that I wouldn't have had without it, it's really just those two games. I think, Mario Kart World and so
Sure.
far, for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
My
that's another thing I'm looking at with this. Like, all right, the launch lineup isn't blowing my mind. The original Switch launch lineup without Breath of the Wild would have also been
mm,
pretty weak, but it had Breath of the Wild. That was
it
pretty
had
good.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, technically, Tim, that's the case now with upgraded visuals and frame rate.
stop it, stop it. Yeah, I
So,
mean,
but
you could
like,
have made an argument that hey, Tears of the Kingdom could have been delayed 2 years and then been a launch game here for both Switch and Switch 2, but they didn't.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
whatever. You're
yeah.
right. That's true.
Um, I don't know. I guess my mentality with like, all right, so like with upgrading and all that, like it's for me not just about the new games. Definitely,
Okay.
something to take into consideration, but especially because of the backwards compatibility. And this is why I think backwards compatibility is such an important thing when you release a new machine. Like you're just picking up and go, baby. You buying this new machine, you can still play the old stuff. You don't have to worry about being like, oh, I gotta hold on to my Switch One. Like, you buy the new machine, you could keep playing those games that you're working on. Some new
Yep.
games are
True.
coming out as well.
That's
That's
true.
cool.
Yeah,
GameCube
that's a good
games
point.
also. Let's not forget the GameCube games. Um,
GameCube. Oh, you know what, dude? We totally forgot. Well, I did because I know you don't care about the series like I do, but Metroid Prime 4 is likely to
oh,
be
sure.
their big pillar releases for the holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably, if I had to guess, like Metroid Prime 4,
Yeah.
Pokemon. that's a pretty solid, holiday couple of pillars to have for them, I think.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
So I get like, yeah, again, the machine is expensive, but like if you're someone who can afford this and it's like not gonna like, break the bank, and you really like Nintendo and you play their games, like it's like why not just get the new nice faster machine and just keep
Yeah,
going with what you're doing, and then when
that's
the
right.
new games come out, you grab them, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm trying
I
to put
think
the positive spin on it because that's
no,
usually how I
I
approach these
agree with
things.
you.
But
I agree with you. I
yeah,
think the system cost itself, I'm not that mad about it. I do think for the general public, a 399 would have looked a lot better and been a lot more like
yeah, yeah,
digestible. The 4 as the first number is tough to see. So I do
yeah,
get that. But I'm excited. Like I'm happy to use a chunk of my tax return on this thing. Like I'm excited for
yeah,
it. So, um, but even with my, reminding myself about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, huge game, can't wait for it. Really excited for it. That's a Switch 1 game as well, though. So like this,
mm,
the Switch 2 motivation, if you're on the fence, is mostly around Mario Kart. Which, by the way, that might be all you need because Mario Kart World looks amazing and it's probably going to be incredible. And I
yeah,
don't think that's coming to Switch One, right? That's specifically
yeah.
Switch
It's
Two.
just switch. Yeah, it's just Switch to.
Okay, that and DK, like, dude, those are pretty solid reasons to get it. I'm not saying they're not good reasons. I'm really excited about those, but it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year plays out. What else will be Switch Two
Yeah,
exclusive? How will they try to put? They're gonna have to try to do something to push to have another big holiday push for this thing. It'll have the first few waves of pre-orders and consoles and people waiting in line to get theirs, later in the summer. But then once holiday
yep.
hits, there's going to be a fresh rush on these things. Is it Pokemon? Because you can play that on either Switch. If I'm a parent and my kid wants a new Pokemon and there's a Switch Lite for 199, I'm getting that. Like screw this $450 one. I'm getting
Well,
the 200.
unless the kid's screaming for Switch 2, but
Maybe,
yeah.
yeah, but for the most
I
part,
want the
like,
new one.
yeah, you're getting the turquoise Switch Lite and you're gonna be happy with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you're gonna shut up and you're gonna like it.
and you're gonna love it. But anyway, all that to say, I'm just curious to see how it plays out. Every console has to go through this. Like, what are the things that are exclusive to the new one? To what
Right.
degree does backwards compatibility hold us back? I think we actually saw that some with the PS5. As much as I love my PS5, a lot of stuff was hitting PS4 also. Like even up until what, a
Yeah.
couple years, like last year, there were still
Yeah.
major games that were hitting PS4 as well. So it's just interesting to see
I
how
mean, it makes
companies.
sense because again, coupled with the notion of these games are costing them more money to make, why wouldn't you? I mean, from a business perspective, why would you not want a version on that old machine that has millions and millions and millions of people available to make those sales? Like it makes sense. I do
Yeah,
get it,
yeah,
but
I do too.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think that is that's the elephant in the room on this conversation is a really exciting time. Just feels like it's got this kind of negative fog in the air. And
yeah,
I do think, regardless of whether or not um, Trump has a direct impact on what's happening with the prices or whatever else, okay, maybe. Like, let's put that stuff aside because you might be right, you might be wrong. I don't know. But who knows? Regardless of that stuff, there is a negativity around the overall pricing of things. The
mm,
idea, like the first Switch, was before we had what is now what I would consider to be a nightmare of getting pre-orders, of getting your hands on a console. So the
mm,
Switch One
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of was right before we started, like we started seeing that with the Series X and with the PS5 and with the Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck was a little better, but um, every console and console iteration that has come out has just had been a nightmare to get a version of. Get your hands on one. So
yeah.
I know that Nintendo has. I got to give them credit. They have some a little bit more of a unique approach. I think we talked about this a few years back about how you should give your online subscribers preference. Nintendo
Mm,
is doing that. So if you go to their site,
yeah.
you can essentially register your interest. I think is how they put it. They word things so weirdly, but you're like
I know.
registering your interest in a pre-order, and they're going to roll those out next month. So early May, you'll be able to you'll get an email potentially if you're selected or whatever to go ahead and pre-order one right from the Nintendo store, right, and get it ordered directly from them. And they're prioritizing that based on are you subscribed to Nintendo Online? How long have you been subscribed? Have you been playing your Nintendo
Right.
Switch a certain number of hours? Like I actually think that's pretty clever. Are you already a major Nintendo customer? And if so, we'll give you preference. I like that. I think that Sony
I'm
and
okay with
Xbox
it
should have done something like that.
up to the online point. I think I'm like, yeah, have it be a person that's at least been a full year, just to make sure. Cool. The extra kind of like little, oh well, have you played X amount of hours? I think that's a little nitpicky, but
Yeah, I see what you're
but
saying. The only thing there is though that like we want to reward people who Nintendo is their home for gaming, and so we want to give them the
sure.
best one.
But I don't like those people. I want to Switch before them, so
All
I,
right,
I
that's
I
fair.
want my Switch. I
That's
want my
fair.
Switch.
That's totally fair.
It's just funny. It just seems like it seems like a very Nintendo thing. Absolutely, like it definitely
Yeah,
just
I
seems like a
actually kind
Nintendo
of
thing.
I like that. I think it's
Okay.
there's not a lot of ways to stem the tide of scalpers. There's not. You can't
Hmm.
control the way every retailer rolls things out. You can't like micromanage what does Best Buy do, what does Walmart do, what does Amazon do. You kind of have to
Right.
let them do you give them their allocation and let them figure it out. All you can do is manage on your side as Nintendo your store, and I think that's one way to do it. Our loyal customers
Yeah.
and loyal users get preferential treatment. I think that's fair. Otherwise, you're going to have people who just have eBay accounts and are just scalping
It
them like
makes
crazy.
sense. Yeah, you're putting up more barriers to the point of entry to kind of make them be like, all right, well then I can't do this because
Right.
yeah, you want me to have all these check boxes
Yep.
checked off. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did sign up for that. We'll see. It's one of those things where I am going to keep an eye out for other pre-orders. Like if I can get one on Best Buy or if I can get one somewhere else, then I'll do that and I'll cancel my Nintendo one. Um, because I just wonder. I don't know. I've never bought a console right from Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony. So I don't know. Do you get it like day of, week of, a month later? Like I don't know how that works. The only time I've done that is through with Valve with the Steam Deck, and I think I got it like 5 months after it released. You know what I mean? So like I'm just
Yeah, I
curious about
haven't
that.
any of the pre-orders I've done have because what was it? I got my PS5 at GameStop, for GameStop,
That
a
was Best Buy
Switch.
for PS5.
The Pro that I just got, the 30th edition one, is the first one where I actually like went directly through Sony, like on their
Okay.
website. I lucked out being in the queue in a spot.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty seamless. I was just obviously all panicky, like wondering is something gonna happen? Is it gonna freeze on me or whatever? But
Yep.
um, no, it actually was pretty seamless. So yeah, it
Nice.
wasn't too bad.
Where are you gonna try to get this one from? What's gonna be your retailer?
I have the so I went to GameStop and Nintendo's site and I put in like my email to because they'll email everybody to notify them. So right now I have it through
Okay.
GameStop and directly through Nintendo. So whatever basically is
Okay.
gonna get it
Nice.
to me faster, that's what I'll go with.
Good old GameStop somehow still exists. Interesting.
I mean, for now.
Interesting.
It's
For now.
somehow
For
for
now.
now.
All right, dude. Let's close things out with talking about what we're currently playing. I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows a little bit because I've been putting a lot more time into that, so we can both discuss that
Assassin's
together.
Creed. That's
That's
crazy,
how.
Tim.
That's
Who,
right. We're gonna do it. I know I'm crazy, but we're gonna do it.
who's still
But
playing
is it
this?
before we get into that? Is there anything else you're playing or maybe watching that you want to call out? And I'll do the same, and then we'll jump into Assassin's Creed.
Um so my watching wise, my wife and I have been watching more Japan YouTube videos, Tim, because I think we're settling on the next vacation that we do go on. We'll be going to
Yeah.
Japan.
All
So
right, dude. Sweet.
I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I mean
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and my wife is starting to just kind of be more interested in like, oh, let's go places that are different. Let's kind of go outside our comfort zone. I mean, she's still stressed and nervous about it because it's a whole other country that speaks a very complex language. So
Yeah.
um,
But
you
I
know,
think it's generally speaking a very like the reputation it has. I've never been, but the reputation it has
mm,
is that it's a safe and clean place to visit,
oh
and it is
yes,
like
yeah,
stepping into another world, which will be really cool. I think a totally different experience and
yeah.
culture and buildings and all of it. So yeah,
You know, it's wild, Tim. Like not because I know I live in America, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like diss America or anything, but we're kind of bad when it comes to this sort of stuff. Like people come here and we're all like, oh, speak English, blah blah blah, and then we go to other countries and then we expect them to speak English because we don't want to learn
yeah,
their language. You know what I mean?
Well, and a lot of them do.
Because yeah,
Like
in
when you
Japan,
go visit countries these days, a lot of them do speak English, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So like yeah, a lot of the cities in Japan, people it's pretty common that people can speak English enough,
yep,
where it can work. I mean, obviously not every single person. And then the further out you go into more rural areas, that's not so much the case. But yeah, it's exciting. But like yeah, it's definitely going to be kind of like nervous, like oh, like getting around the trains. Like I've heard that's actually not too bad, but it's still like again in another country,
yeah.
signs are in different language. So
I mean, that could be
um,
nerve wracking when you're in the states, going to a new country, figuring out
yeah,
their public
sure,
transportation.
yeah, that's
Or
true.
going to a new state, a new city, just to do that. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that can be a lot. And then yeah, the only other thing is so I've been streaming Signalis.
Oh,
Um
nice. Did you ever finish
I
Final
had beat
Fantasy VI?
so that's what I'm circling back to it. So
All right.
because if anyone forgot, if you don't recall, I was like on a streaming hiatus. I had not streamed for like
Yeah.
nearly 3 months. Um so I kind of just basically came back. I played some Mario Odyssey, but then I was also playing Signalis because I needed one more trophy, Tim, to platinum Signalis.
Oh,
I just
dang! You
needed one.
platinumed that game?
I just did. So the last trophy I needed, Tim, was to beat the game on the hardest difficulty. So of course the
And you
worst
did
one
it.
saved for last. Yeah, dude, that was rough. Because the enemies are tougher. And the trophy guide that I read recommended to basically just run past everything. Like rarely use your weapons.
Hmm.
Which they give you less ammo for and less health pickups too. So like you're just like basically it turns into just like a running away from everything simulator almost,
Yeah.
and it's horrifying because some areas are pretty tough.
It does have a really
Um,
gritty like PS1 feel to it, like old Dino Crisis, old
yes,
Resident Evil, but sci-fi setting. It's real creepy.
yeah, it's story wise, I would say since I finally got to fully play a Silent Hill game recently, I would say story wise and those vibes very Silent Hill,
Silent
very
Hill.
very
Okay.
Silent Hill.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Inventory management wise, very Resident Evil.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yep.
it's like a mixture of those that era, which is yeah, dude. People need to play if you like horror games and you like retro PS1 era style game, please play Signalis. It's super
Yeah, it
cool,
was Game of the Year
super
for a
super
few
cool.
people who played it. They like it was a few personal picks I heard like on different
Yeah,
outlets that would do like their Game of the Year shows or whatever. I heard Signalis come up a couple times. It was like a one of those darlings that you're the only one in the room who's played, but yeah.
honestly, I'm not mad about that. If I had played it at the time, I probably would have hyped it up much more. Not that it would have been like super high on the list, but I'd be like, no, guys, seriously, Signalis, like,
Right, right. Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
game is really cool. So
That's great. I'm glad you're back in the streaming. When are you on a normal cadence again?
I'm trying to yeah, like what I was doing up until was trying to be like, oh, Tuesdays and Fridays, and then if for whatever
Life
reason like
happens.
I'm tired or yeah, life stuff, then I'll move days around. It's man, it's been a little tough, Tim, because I'll be honest. And it's hard to have the discussion with the streaming because I'm not the type of person that likes to be like I'm complaining about things. Like I kind of just want to be chill and like not seem ungrateful or like, but man, like going away from streaming for a while is really just it's not good for like your streaming career, quote unquote, because
Yeah.
it feels like you're starting over.
Yeah.
Um Sometimes. And I mean, I was playing Signalis on stream and I love the game and it's like I don't know if it's a mixture of like who I am and I play retro RPGs and that's what people maybe think me of and I'm playing this
Mm,
like this other game but I'm doing this weird run where I'm like not even really shooting anything so it's kind of boring to watch like I don't know. It's just been
yeah.
tough because like I try not to acknowledge the numbers. That's what streamers are. Don't worry about the numbers and don't. But it's tough because I do worry about the numbers. One because I'm human and I'm flawed and I feel
Right.
down on myself. But also because I genuinely want like people to come in, give me a chance, and I want to chat with them. I want to talk about games. I want to be like just
Yeah.
being all goofy and silly on streams. That's the point of streaming for me. It's different for everybody and it's tough to do those things if people aren't showing up. So you know what I mean?
Very true.
Um,
And it's important to have a
but
game that you can pause, like Signalis. You can actually pause if you need to interact with people. If you're
yes,
playing something
true.
like think Monster Hunter. I think they do have a pause option in the menu, which is weird. You have to pause it and then go down
Mm.
to pause game. Or like even this Kazan game that I'm playing, the first Berserker, you can't pause it. It's like even when you hit start to go to the
Oh,
next
really?
things. Yeah, it's one of those classic Souls things where it's like the world will
Mm.
continue, and I'm like, yeah, but let me
Sure.
pause. There's no one
Yeah.
here.
Let me pause.
Yeah, yeah.
um.
But yeah, no, I'm with you.
But yeah,
I like to. Let me know when you guys are doing when you are doing that again. I'd be happy to jump in. If you're listening or watching this, go check out Dapper underscore Chocobo on Twitch and make sure you're there for his next stream. What's coming up next on that? Now that Signalis is in the bag.
I'm gonna circle back to 6 because I had just gotten a little bit past the part where the world changes. So then
Okay. Okay.
like, oh, I gotta go get everybody. So
Yeah,
I'm
everyone's
like kind of
scattered.
like at the beginning of that. Yeah, yeah. So I'm doing like the beginning of that. So I don't know how
Mm,
far. I don't know if I'm halfway, like 60%,
okay.
but I need to
It's
finish
been
it.
so
So
long since I played it, but I want to say that's about 2/3 of the way through, but I could be wrong. It just depends
okay.
on how much of the extra stuff you do, right?
Yeah,
There's so much
yeah,
stuff
and
in
I
this
definitely want
game.
to make sure I do all that because I know
Yeah.
this one, like more than any of the other Pixel one, has like a good amount of extra stuff to do. So
And some very optional characters to recruit, whether you just keep them
right,
for a little
right,
while until you change your party, then they're gone. There's at least two like that. There's one that's very optional to get, and you have to do something special to get. Anyway, so there's optional
yeah, yeah,
characters too, which are always fun. And of
yeah.
course, the super rare espers that you're going to want to go track down and
Mm-hmm.
get. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I made sure I grabbed one of the because I had missed this character the first go around, which I think you can get them fairly early, but then you go back, you're racing up the mountain there. I'm sure if I just saying that who I'm talking about because I was
Yep.
concerned. I was like, oh shit, did I like miss that character? But then the guide said like, oh no, you just a little bit later, then you get to this part. So I
Yep.
did definitely get them. So
Yep.
um
Yeah, I
yeah, I
love the
want to make sure I'm
characters
not
in this
missing
game.
anything.
I mean, that's what I like about that game and the Suikoden games. The idea that you can recruit everyone, but you can also miss people if you're not careful or following a guide. Like I kind of
Yeah,
liked that because it gave you a sense of
yeah,
accomplishment when
it's
you get them.
it's tough, but yeah, yeah. The feeling you get when you do it, it's like I just got all of them. It's cool.
Yeah, that's right. One of my favorite characters, not necessarily as a character because his dialogue is stupid, but like as a fighter was Gao because he could learn
Okay.
like any creature's move set,
Oh, the
which
kid, the little savage kid. Yeah, yeah,
the little savage kid who just kind of goes like ow ow ow, like he doesn't really
yeah,
talk
yeah.
clearly or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, getting the right, if you fight against the right enemies and learn some of their moves, he gets crazy overpowered. But anyway,
Yeah,
just depends on who or what enemies you fight with him. But that's also from playing the game through too many times where I was like, all right, this time I'm going to play with characters I didn't use at all last time. And, he was one of them. I mean, I always liked the brothers. I liked the tools, and I always liked the blitzes. So
yeah.
trying to try out other characters
There definitely
was a lot of
seems like
fun.
characters that it's almost like when they were like deciding what their battle mechanics were. It's like we kind of like this character a little more. Let's make
Yeah,
them a little more interesting. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, once you get the
Or a little
chainsaw
stronger.
tool, then it's like, dude, it's over. Like the chainsaw
Yeah,
tool is amazing. Did you get that one already?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that one. Yeah.
Because it has a small chance of doing an instant kill chainsaw, where normally he spins
Yeah.
around and
Okay.
attacks
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yep.
And then
Yep.
sometimes he'll just do a straight up saw that kind of just pokes into him, and then it's just instant
Yep.
kill,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
very
I did
satisfying.
get that because I remember I got a couple of instant kills. So.
Uh huh. Yep. Cool, man. Well, I'll make sure to tune back in if you're doing some Final Fantasy VI, maybe this week, right? Tuesday, you're thinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Possibly.
I wanna get back into that, finish it, finally complete it, and then
Okay.
move on to some. I'm thinking some PS2 games, Tim. I'm kind of feeling Onimusha
Yeah.
or Metal Gear
Oh,
Solid.
yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
So
Yep. Yep. Get some Onimusha, whether you do one or whether maybe you jump to three, whatever it is you do, because then the new Onimusha comes out hopefully
yeah,
early next year, but definitely in 2026. I would love for it to be like a Q1 game. That'd be crazy if that was a Q1 game.
that would be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
I feel like Capcom does that, right? They just did it with Monster Hunter, so they could.
They do like to release games, yeah, in those first few months. They don't care. They're just like, yeah, I mean, here you
Yeah,
go.
they do that. And Resident Evil 2, they usually release in the first half of years. I don't know what it is about that. I think
Yeah.
they just release it when it's ready. I don't think they necessarily have a strategy. Maybe they do. Who
Yeah,
knows?
they
Because
just
they'll
been
like
doing well
they'll have a
for,
January game, then they'll have like an April game. Like it's like, oh, okay, that's when the game's coming out. Cool.
Yeah, I like them exploring the calendar. You know, get some more solid like nines or tens in the summer, Tim. I want to play a
That's
sick
right.
ass game in the summer. You know.
Explore the calendar. That's the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Explore the calendar.
Explore the calendar.
All right. I know that both of us are also playing more of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I'll put up some of this skill up review. Hopefully, nothing too spoilery. If you feel like it's spoilery, go ahead and just turn off the video version
I was
and
gonna say
skip
that
forward.
first part. Yeah, I hadn't gotten there yet, but I think I'm about to be there basically. So
Okay. So this is a review. So I would assume that they can't show anything too spoilery, other than just what some of the character interactions. Although I can't turn off captions.
yeah,
Whoever filmed this left the captions on.
that's
But
fine.
anyway, so I've been playing a bunch more of this. Again, it's been a very busy week. I've had far more limited gaming time than I would have liked, but was able to do a bunch more in that first section of the game. And Dan, I got to tell you, I've leaned into how you were describing how you played it. I've just been exploring and doing missions and side missions like crazy with
Yeah.
Noway. I haven't even gotten Yasuke back yet. Like I haven't even gotten
Yep.
to that. I am just doing her storyline. Ran into this one random woman who wanted me to find origami butterflies on trees. Did you find that
Yes.
lady?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I
I think I have
started
7
finding
out of
those,
10 of them. Forgot about
and
those.
it turns into another side quest where there's these kids being
Oh.
kidnapped, and like
Oh.
you have to
Okay.
read the origami notes. Some of them have secret notes where there's like this kidnapping ring that's happening, and you have to like uncover that. And
Wait.
so
Is this a
I just
a
finished that
heavy
first one.
rain Easter egg?
I mean, maybe not quite that heavy, but yeah, like there's that like that was awesome. I really love doing that. And then ran into, I forget who it was, like a priest or somebody. Oh, I forgot. This review,
Hmm.
we watched this before. This is one that jumps to like other than
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but anyway, this guy who wants me to take out these Ronin, right? These colorful Ronin. So there's a whole different circle of other Ronin I gotta assassinate
Yeah.
that are
There's a
around
lot
the
of people to
world.
assassinate.
Yeah, and then I just discovered the contract system where you can go destroy shipments or eliminate mercenaries or whatever. They want you to sneak in and steal something. So there's contracts you can
Yeah.
also do. So here I am as
Yep.
Naue, and I'm as you're completing things where people are helping people. Maybe you save them from bandits, and they unlock a new world intel, and you can go to that spot on the map. Oh, there's a whole new like fort here or castle here or whatever.
Hmm.
I'm finding myself just doing all of that stuff, and I finally have the what's it, the scythe and ball and chain tool. What's Kusi?
Oh,
What's it
yeah.
called?
It's a long word. It starts with a K. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah, like
so here something agiri
Masigara or something. I can't remember what it's
or yeah,
called.
maybe
It's a
actually.
very
I don't know. It's a long word.
very cool weapon, and it's really good for crowd control. The way you can kind of swing it
Yes.
around your head and do like big hits. If you just hold in the strong attack, she'll just swing it until you're ready, and you can
Yep.
like. There's some really cool things you can do with that. And I'm just now starting to get. I think I'm level 15, maybe 16, something like that.
Okay.
So I have enough skill points where I've unlocked some really cool moves. Um, I was just sticking to the katana for a while, but I switched over to the tanto for a little bit, and I unlocked the double
Yes.
assassination. So now I can do double
That's what I was going to ask you.
assassinations with
I
it.
was going to ask you that.
Dude, that was a game changer. Complete game
Which
changer.
have not been in the series for like years now, which is insane, Tim. Like
I
insane.
agree, man. Yeah, because didn't they introduce like double blades, like you had two hidden blades or something like that, and you could
Yes, it was
assassinate
Ezio.
two at
I'm pretty
once.
sure Ezio was the last one that did that.
Really? I thought at least
I
like
think maybe the
was
French one did. I
London,
can't remember though.
maybe London.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe the
London did
French one.
too. I don't know.
Well,
But
all
it's
I know
been a
is the
while.
double assassination was very satisfying once you unlock that. And I
Yes.
powered up my assassination so I have a better chance of taking out the stronger enemies in one hit.
Yep.
I didn't turn on the option that I mentioned last week. I do kind of want to progress the way the game wants you to. Um, but I was tempted to just turn on the instant kills, for all enemies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't do that.
Yeah, no,
But anyways, I'm doing a lot
I'm
of this.
going
What you're
through
seeing
the
here
way
with
it wants
Now
to.
I just roaming the countryside, unlocking the map, finding places, things to paint. I love like the little paint things you can do. You can pause and paint.
Yeah.
And Dan, I'll throw it to you for your thoughts on it too. I just discovered that in your little hideout, as you're adding buildings, you're upgrading things. I added a forge and a study and all these other things. You can add pets. You can decorate, of course. You can add all kinds of trees and bushes and rocks and all these and lights. Lots of lighting you can add.
Hmm.
and you unlock these things, and you can purchase them from vendors. You can find them in chests. You get them for completing quests. But also, every animal that you can pet, and in some cases, I think even paint, you can add them to your hideout. How awesome is that?
So Tim, it's awesome because I mentioned it a couple episodes back actually.
It went right over my head.
I said I don't know if you're well. I mean, obviously you hadn't remembered, but I was like, make sure you pet everything
Okay, so I heard that
because
part, and I was like, "Yeah, I will. That's cool. I
okay,
like that you can pet animals." I didn't know that meant you can now
yeah,
adopt them to your
right,
hideout.
yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah. Just pet any. Yeah, it's pretty rad, dude. Do you have anything besides like cats or the dogs or
No, just cats and dogs so far. I did
okay?
paint a couple herons, so I assume maybe I can bring in some birds or something there. But I'm excited to see what else I can do,
Yeah, I don't know if
animal
it's
wise.
literally everything because I forgot about the birds and I can't. I don't think I could put birds in
Yeah, I only
my
placed what I
space.
could.
But
So I did. There's that one dog that has a quest so that he's kind of like scarred up,
yes,
so you can add him,
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
course.
Yep.
And then some of the other, I think I had like 6 or 7 different species of dogs and cats. So I just added all of them. I was like, why would I not add a bunch of these? I want dogs and
Yeah,
cats all
just
over.
let them roam
Throw it
around,
in there.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, super cool. And there's a lot of really fun customization you can do to your hideout. Everything from the way things look. You can unlock different
Yeah.
roof styles and wall styles, door styles, pathways. You can like map out pathways and put lighting
Yep.
alongside it and decorative things. So you can go all out, or you can do nothing, right? You can just do the bare minimum, and like if you don't want to do that part, you don't really have to. But it's cool that it's there, you know.
I will say, make sure to upgrade the buildings themselves when you can.
Yeah, good call. I only upgraded one so far. I want to upgrade the
Okay.
forge because there's some things that I know that you can't get until you
Yes.
have it upgraded.
Yep. Yep.
But that one, I still need to do some more raiding to get enough materials for that.
Have you done any of like the big castles, Tim?
Only I haven't completed any of the big castles. I have,
Okay.
I think with the so the Katano one, whatever that one's called.
Mm,
It's also part of some quests early on too. So I was in there a few times
okay.
and did some stuff in there. But then there was another one that I did spend a lot of time in. I just didn't face off against all the what are they called? Those major
Okay.
samurai bosses. I didn't
Yeah,
face
the
off
big
against
boys,
them
the
all.
ones that have the symbol over their head, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because that's one of those are the bigger castles that there's like, man, like it legitimately takes me like 30 minutes just to get through one of them, like a whole like 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe to like they're huge, dude. There's some
Yeah.
that are huge.
They're massive. They have really cool
Yeah.
moats. So you're kind of like, I'm in the castle. And you look around, you're like, nope, I'm just in the outer rim of this castle. Okay. There's a
Yes.
whole, and it's really well guarded. And the architecture, it's almost like they knew Shinobi would sneak in there. So they make it really hard to get in there. You have to find just the right spot to jump to or climb or enemy to
Yep.
kill or maybe underwater thing to swim. Like there's all kinds of ways to get in, but you have to look for them because it's, yeah,
Yeah.
they're legit castles. Yeah.
Yeah. Um trying to think of anything else new to ask. I as far as the story for me, I'm right at the part where I feel like I'm about to finally connect back up with Yusuke.
Okay.
Um
Okay.
so I just did like a major story mission
Okay.
and some things happened. So oop, and
I did get my
I think now
first
we're gonna
ally that I can summon. What I forget what they're called.
oh okay. Was it Yaya?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yaya, yep.
Yeah,
Um
she's like the big
yeah, and
warrior
they were
monk.
like there was like questions that she was asking and I did that thing of like I'm just going to answer the way you want me to answer because I'm afraid like you might not actually join me so then I
That's
like do I lose
exactly
something?
what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, all right, yeah, sure. Let's forgive everybody. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even though I don't want to do that,
Dude, I was actually gonna
just to make
ask you
sure.
that. Like, when a game gives you a choice but doesn't really give you a choice, that does bug me a little
Mm,
bit, you know? Where it's
yeah,
like I kind of want now way to eat like I don't know. I was trying to be a little more honorable and not be so revenge focused with this
sure,
playthrough and try to like, make her father proud kind of a thing. But I also didn't like that it really pigeonholed you into like. Now, if they had made it clear, like there's a couple characters in that scene, and if they had made it clear,
mm,
like if you answer this way, you're gonna build favor with this person, or that way you're gonna build favor with
sure.
this person, like then I'm a little more on board, right? Because now it's a little more Mass Effecty or whatever, where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
you're gonna make someone mad and someone else happy, and maybe almost Baldur's Gate 3 style, where it's like you might even lose them forever if you're not careful or what.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. But this felt a little more like if you answer one way, she'll be mad. Another way, she'll be happy. With other characters,
Right.
it's gonna be the same no matter what. So I don't know if that's the case. Maybe I misunderstood the systems, but I was right there with you. It all it warned you of was that Yaya is gonna have a reaction to this. That's all it told you.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why. Yeah, exactly. I just didn't want to like risk, yeah, just pissing her off and her just being like, "Well, I'm not gonna help you." It's like,
and I'm glad that I did
I
because I like having a partner you can summon in, at any point, which is
yeah,
really cool. I just learned that you can apparently in your hideout you can create not barracks, but some place where they can train and level up and
there's
get
like a
better.
dojo, the
Like a
dojo, I
dojo,
think.
okay, where
Yeah,
they can train and level up and you can improve their skills, which I think is really cool. So I don't know how many allies you'll get, but probably at least 8 by the way the board looked. Um, in the
yeah,
in one of the
yeah,
fast
yeah,
travel places I went to, it looked like maybe 10, either 8 or 10. So yeah, I like those systems. I think they added a lot that they didn't even need to add. It's just a very well built out world, very well fleshed out. Um, I certainly have had some jank here and some open world jank where my horse does
yeah.
something
Of
funky
course,
or he gets stuck in a ditch or all of a sudden I meant to hide there, but for some reason she ran up the wall. Like there's been a couple of little moments like
of
that
course.
that are
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed like, but nowhere near as many as I would get back in the day playing like Assassin's Creed 3 when things felt cool but
yeah,
so broken. You know what I mean?
for
Um,
sure.
so
Yeah, I think.
so I've had a few of those moments, but mostly it's really pretty. It's a really pretty game. It's so funny. We see these big companies like Ubisoft, and all we want to do is take a crap on them because they don't do things right, and sometimes that's earned, right? That's fair because
Yeah,
leadership does horrible things or they're greedy with the money and the NFTs or whatever it is they're doing. Fair to
yeah,
criticize. But man, when they really put their minds to it, whether it's the Avatar game from last year, which was absolutely gorgeous, if not super fun to play, it wasn't the funnest to play, but really, really pretty,
yeah,
or this game, which is super fun to play and really pretty. Like the characters look really interesting. Yeah, some of the character models are reused, just like every open world game.
sure,
You just kind of
of course.
re-see a few characters, but a lot of them are very unique. I think the face details look great. Sometimes the animation is a little funny, but most of it's pretty good. And boy, the world with the trees and the wind, the storms that kick in, and the animals and
Dude,
the water. I
there
think it's a
was
gorgeous game.
there was earlier I was it was like nighttime ish. I think it was like starting to
Okay.
get pretty close to just nighttime, and the wind was kicking, and the
Yeah.
wind, the rain and the wind, and so
Yep.
the trees were swaying, and
Uh
and then
huh.
the rain's hitting. The rain was hitting like this bridge, this kind of like slightly worn bridge, and just the way that the moon was kind of like reflecting. Like this game is actually like there's some shots where the lighting's really good and the weather effects are really excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it just
Yep.
looks really solid. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I got
Not an
like
ugly game.
flashbacks to my Witcher 3 playthrough where he's like, winds howling or storms brewing or whatever. Like he would say
Yeah,
that
there
if
you go.
he was traveling and the weather would change. And that was so immersive. And so it made me think of
Yeah,
that where, the rain. And there's even some really immersive moments in some of the cutscenes and some of the conversations there. It kind of makes me want to rewatch Shogun again on Hulu. I really liked that show a lot. But like, there's a lot of care and love for this culture, down to
yeah,
the tea ceremony, for example. It's actually a pretty key part of the storyline,
yeah.
and it's even brought up later where it's going to be part of a major plan. Like
Hmm.
the tea ceremony is a huge component of that culture, of course. Probably even still today. I don't know. Maybe if you end up traveling to Japan, you can let me know. But
Yeah.
certainly back
Oh, shit.
then, it was a huge element in your status, your intelligence, your trustworthiness. This tea
Right.
ceremony was huge, and so they handled even that with care, which they didn't have to. They could have like fast tracked a lot of that stuff, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They used
Well, I
that as a
mean,
cool opportunity.
literally, like you're learning about bowing at that one. Does that one where he's teaching
Yeah,
you, and if you, it actually gives you an option in the game to be like, well, am I bowing all the way down, like kind of like a midway bow, or
or
and
just
like he'll
head.
actually. So I did the all the way down. He's like, that's too much. That's too much. You're
Yeah,
you're making it seem like you're lesser than these people. In a tea ceremony, you are equal. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. So you go
yeah. You're
just
like
you do the
learning.
midway one. Yeah. So it's like that's actually really cool because it's like
Yeah,
that's part of the culture. Like that's what you did, or maybe still do with the tea
yep.
ceremony. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. I've been really impressed by that. And then of course, just like with Ghost of Tsushima, with the shrines you can pray at and some of the different lore
Mm,
pieces that you can discover along the way. There's just a lot happening. Even the names of towns and the
yeah,
different classes that are there, and some of the conversations you have, and people who run the shrines, and there's people, the way that the Portuguese Catholic Church has now set up, but that's where the treasure really is. Like, I don't know. There's a lot about it that um, just feels like nice touches of historical and cultural significance that makes me kind of curious and want to keep playing and diving in. And I'm
yeah.
having a blast with it, man. For a little bit there, I was kind of playing it out of obligation, to be honest, because I was like, I got to play it. It's the new big game. I got to play
Mm,
it. But now I am like fully into it, loving it. And
yeah.
the combat has truly opened up with different weapon types, different skill trees to use. And dude, I got to get back to using Yasuke so I can get back to some samurai hammering. Like I
Yeah.
want to just smash some
I
things a little bit.
From what you just, as far as some missions you just described, I think you're actually pretty close to me. So I think you've
Okay.
moved through the story a bit faster than me, because I think I'm like upwards of 30 hours now, and I'm just getting to
Okay.
that
Yeah,
part. So
I'm in the right around 10, 11 hours total, and most of that has been this week.
okay,
um, I was only able to put maybe three hours into it before this week, but this week I've been able to spend a couple of evenings, a couple of play sessions,
yeah,
playing it. And man, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm kind of glad we don't have, anything new this week, but it's funny to even say that
yeah.
because next week we got South of Midnight, and we've got a bunch of, we got Doom coming out in here in about a month. Like, there's so many
Oh yeah,
things on the way. We got the Claire
there is.
Obscure Expedition one that's hitting in 2 weeks. So, I mean, who's got time? Who's got
Yeah,
time?
I'll have time for that game. I'll make the
Yeah,
time. I
for
don't even
sure.
care.
Yeah. But anyway, oh, and you know what? I brought this up a couple weeks ago to you and Kyle, and I'll close out with this. Um, but I can confirm, and I am happy to put my stamp of approval on it with no hesitation, that House of David show on Prime is very good. It's a very good series.
House of David.
Which, House of David, it is a story. It's the Old Testament story of King David,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
the first season is just building up to. Everyone is familiar with David and Goliath, the idea of this young
Sure.
nobody kid taking on this gigantic warrior and somehow winning. And that story means different things to different people. Some people just think of it as a marketing phrase, like, oh, it's a David versus
Hmm.
Goliath story. Other people, it's a very, very meaningful part of their faith. And for others, they're interested in the historical elements of it. Like, well, who was, like, did this really happen? And if so, or even if it didn't really happen, like, what do historical documents and the Bible, all of it say
Yeah.
about it? I thought the show did a really good job of building a compelling world with characters that are really interesting. And I liked it, man. It was just really nice to see a story come from something that is so beloved by so many people for millennia now, and it be given, I think, a pretty good amount of love and care to it. Just like we talked about with Assassin's Creed Shadows, people
Yeah.
seem to really care about this time period and this culture. I feel the same thing about this show. People really cared about telling a compelling version of this. Yeah, with a lot of creative liberties, but not so much, in my opinion, that it's worth getting up in arms about. I think it's really well done, and it builds up nicely to the final David and Goliath moment. And it already got approved for season 2, so people are watching it. So, or whatever,
Oh, okay.
confirmed for season 2. So,
So is it Prime Video exclusive?
yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I must
I
have
mean,
maybe
they've got
maybe
money
got
behind it, man. Like
got some of
it
that
does not look cheap.
Amazon
Like
money.
so many, yeah, exactly. So many shows that are I just feel like a lot of shows that are trying to tell a message or come from any kind of like religious worldview typically look cheap, feel cheap, dialogue and acting is pretty wooden. And this was just a nice breath of fresh air, man. It's the opposite of all that.
Nice.
Great performances, really good actors. It's funny. Last thing I'll mention about it, the actor who played Goliath. I'm not saying he's a great actor, but he's massive. He's a bodybuilder. He's like this jacked, huge dude. Obviously, you need a big guy to
Hmm.
play Goliath. And in addition to him being big, they use camera effects to make him probably 5 feet taller than he already is. So they
Yeah.
make him truly huge. But he's going to be Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 2.
All right. So what? Yeah. Oh yeah. You had mentioned in the chat, but I didn't know who the actor. So who's the actor?
His name's Martin Ford, and he's going to be
Ford.
Shao Kahn. And he's been in other stuff too, I
Oh
guess. That's kind
yeah.
of like
No, this
given him
makes
some root.
sense.
As soon as you
This
saw him, you
makes
thought it, right?
yeah. Immediately, I'm like, oh yeah. No, of course, absolutely. That
The
makes
fact that he's
sense.
Goliath and Shao Kahn totally checks off for both of those things, right? I mean, it totally makes
Although
sense.
maybe he could have been a Goro. You could have
Could
been
have
a
been
Goro.
Goro too. He absolutely could have been Goro too. Absolutely agree. So anyway.
Could have worked too, but
All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week. Next week we'll talk South of Midnight and anything else that is new, and we'll start getting excited about things like Expedition 33 and other games that are coming out. And hopefully our buddy Kyle will be back to join us. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see